Hello! It's
Howdy.
us! Do you remember
Hello?
us?
We're back.
We are back. It's amazing. We're back for session 6
Yep.
of RLPD. We've been gone for 3 whole weeks, which is pretty sad, but unfortunately we had some failed constitution saving throws in the party.
Look, I'm sorry I got COVID, okay?
People were not up to the task, which is totally fine. I hope everyone's feeling better now, though, and feeling up to the task of playing some Dungeons and Dragons.
I don't even remember where we got up to. I gotta read my last notes.
That's rough, because I'm going to ask...
Fernando? Who's Fernando?
I need to clear all this junk I've piled up on my notebook.
I'm going to have to get you guys to recap to make sure that I didn't miss anything in my mental recap. So
We'll start with Reese.
Oh, we'll do that in a minute.
Yeah.
But how's everyone in chat been? Have you guys been missing your D&D fix? Because I know I sure have. I was telling the guys I literally was dreaming about this campaign a few days ago because I guess subliminally I was missing it. So I was dreaming about the climax of the campaign that hasn't happened yet. So that was pretty cool.
Wow.
Nice.
Everyone died. It was amazing.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. The part where the dragon ate everyone. Oh, so good.
So good. How about you
And
guys?
then
How have you
Chad
guys?
Thundercock rocked up and saved the day.
Yeah, obviously. He's the hero of this story. How have you guys been coping with the lack of roleplay over the last few weeks?
I've missed it, man.
I mean, I backed and selected dice for a Kickstarter today, so
Yep.
hopefully
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
not gross and ugly, but what are you
they-
gonna do?
Are they like super premium, nice looking ones?
They're supposed to be, but they're from a company that hasn't done Kickstarters great in the past, so I'm like, we'll see how we go.
Okay.
Also, it's coming from the US, so it's like $58 a set. It's a lot. You'd think they'd be made of glass for that price, but they ain't. They just they resin.
You
Do you
wish they
own a
made of
glass
glass.
set of dice?
No, I do not.
I don't know anyone that owns a set of glass because like everyone's got metal dice and I've seen wooden dice, but I've actually never seen glass dice. But I'm like,
Yeah.
that would make so
Probably a
much
good
logical
reason for
sense.
that, because if it falls off the table, it's gone, man. And then you can't
Yeah.
play with 6 like dice left. You have to have the full set, so you would just.
So
end up
I
not using
have
it.
No,
dice.
but like it could be like the reinforced glass that like even if it was to like break, then it wouldn't like splinter like if it was a pane of glass.
I have
guess
dice
so.
made out of like gemstones. So like
I was
I've
gonna
got,
say,
Ooh, that's.
I got a set
Nice.
of obsidian dice.
ooh.
And I think I got like tiger eye stone dice.
Ooh.
And I think I've got something else, but I can't remember.
Nice.
And they cost me
Chlamydia.
like $100 each. And like so I've used the obsidian ones a few times, but the problem is after using them a few times they get chipped, and I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh.
That's like the most frustrating part, because you buy a nice set of dice. It's so like I don't know. They're crisp and clean.
Yeah.
And then you roll them one time on the table without, 4 layers of padding and, a blanket.
Yeah.
And they chip. And you're like, oh, I don't want to roll a chipped dice from now on.
If you can like
Yeah.
mentally, I guess, shift gears and just be like, no, they're just weathered. Like it's just a patina, They're like
Like-
an artifact now with
Yeah,
unique,
veteran dice.
unique. That's what I told myself when I hit my rims on the curb not long ago. I was like, battle scars. It's unique. It's don't be mad or upset about it. It's just patina. Every object tells a story. And that's how I stopped being upset with myself. So just do that with your
Yeah,
dice.
Right.
it's like when you repair fine china with like actual gold,
Yeah.
and you polish it off over the top and everything, and it gives it that character.
Or you put a hole in a wall and then you repair it with noodles.
You sand them down.
Yeah, sand them down, and you're like, hey.
Yeah, and sunflower seeds. Yeah.
And then you paint it over, and it looks perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you realize that you should have scrolled past this video 5 minutes ago.
But it's so captivating.
It's so captivating. You know what's gonna happen as well. It's like here's a hole, and you're like,
I saw
I have
one
fallen
recently,
into this
and I
hole.
was very tempted to send it to you, Reese, because I know that we share the same sick, unhealthy obsession. It was a dude, he had a hole saw bit, and he drills a hole in the top of a bedside table, pulls the drawer out, fills it with flex spray, like flex tape seal spray,
Yeah.
then fills the drawer with ice, closes the drawer, and uses it as an esky.
Why?
Fuck yeah.
Hole saws it at the top of the bedside table so that he could reach in and grab a white claw from his bedside table esky.
Oh my
A white
God.
claw.
That's
Bro.
actually like there's so many like do-it-yourself haha videos which are just like, here's the most useless thing you'll never need in your entire life, and here's how to life hack it, right? I would actually use that drawer. That's sick.
You know,
Bro.
I love those videos that like they're parody, like they're obviously like unrealistic,
parody
and no
one.
one believes that would ever happen. But then they become a parody because they're like, no one's gonna believe this shit. But they still publish it, and it still goes out as if someone's gonna believe that this is a real thing. And you're just like, the whole purpose of the video is just to draw your eye in, and it's just like it's a parody of itself. And it's become sentient, is what it has become.
I love when they...
Hey, guess what? You're the one that watched it for 10 minutes and went, this is horse shit. You still watch it for 10 minutes.
Yeah, 'cause it's entertaining.
I love
It's
the
so
ones where
funny
they
to see what they come up with.
make a tool out of plastic bottles and like paper clips, and they had to use a real version of the tool that they're making
to make it.
to make the tool.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like, define the word without using the word.
yeah,
Yeah.
awful,
I've seen so many of those things.
so bad. So
Pretty
bad.
sure there's one of a guy and he gets like a set of nails, like you go to Bunnings and buy a pack of nails and he fucking melts them down in a furnace and like tries to make screws out of them.
Bro,
That's great.
There was one where like they cut off the top of screws and then nailed them into wood, and I'm like, just get nails. Like they even showed it. It's like, oh, go to the store, buy screws, and you're like, buy nails.
Yeah, that must have been like the similar thing.
It's like there's this channel
So
I watch called Peter Brown, and he does he's a like maker sort of channel, and he does a lot with resin, and he did a video a while back of making a hammer out of Adam Savage's book, Every Tool's a Hammer, and he like used the pages in resin to make a hammer, which was like cool and meta. But then he was like, I wonder what other tools you can make with resin, and he starts trying to like cast screws in resin and then use them and drill bits and things like that, and they all just fall apart. And he's like, what if I fill the resin with iron filings and then make a drill bit out of resin? That's so good.
It's like, in fact, forget the resin, we'll just use iron.
So I've made a forge. Like,
Those
Yeah.
are so funny, those videos.
Oh, bless.
It's a good time.
Cat, what are you doing?
What an absolute
Stop.
tangent.
There's nothing in there. It's just paper.
That tangent was us watching that video for 10 minutes before realizing we should
Yeah.
just scroll past us.
Now chat doesn't have to watch it.
Yeah,
yeah,
Exactly.
we watch the clickbait, so you don't have to.
So how's that relate to D&D?
Good question.
Well, you see.
I don't know who started this tangent. I feel like it was Lachlan. I blame Lachlan.
No,
much
it wasn't me.
like those videos, our D&D is also
Made of
10
noodles and
minutes.
resin.
yeah. Held together by noodles and super glue and resin and gaff tape.
Fact.
But yes, it has been 3 weeks, and I have very much missed D&D. I think about it every day, and I have such a cool idea for a campaign / like one-shot thing, and it will never get to the table because I'm unorganized and I'll never get it pen to paper. So
Oh man.
That was me
That's a funk.
with this. Like, I had the setting here before I had the campaign. But yeah, exact same thing. I was like, it's been rattling around in my head for ages, and it took a lot to get pen to paper and get.
If I may
things-
ask, how long do you reckon you were like from the conception of the idea to the alright, we're playing this week?
Well, I mean, it depends on what you classify as the idea, I suppose. Right? So, I guess I mean, it's not a spoiler, but Rolands Landing began as a setting for a story I was writing. I'm writing. That is,
Ooh.
I don't know what it is. Short
So you're an
story.
author now.
I'm definitely not an author. But so I had the setting already, and I was like, I kind of want to do stuff in this like city, because I think a good way to like flesh it out is to play around in it to get an idea, feel for it, I suppose. And so that kind of informed a lot of the history and the feel of the city. But that's been as of like years ago that first started. But then I guess the work on turning it into an actual playable campaign, making the map and things like that, started at this point, God, probably 8 or 9 months ago. Because I started kind of trying to get things into gear roughly when we went on break at the end of last year from streaming. Because the idea was to be able to stream this while we weren't in the studio because of lockdowns and COVID and all that fun stuff.
It's such a long process to get things from like started and going, and it's like you've got all this like backlog and you've got all the ideas, but to actually start it takes so long. And why? It's the motivation that we need, because it's such a daunting task of how big it is.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit tricky to know where to start. Especially with
sometimes
the story
like
and things.
what really slows you down is like, let's say you have an idea, but you don't want to tell anyone to spoil it, right? So then it's just in your head, and then you're the only one who's like got the motivation to do it, right? But if you share your idea with like a close friend or a spouse or something, and you get some encouragement and you're like, oh yeah, that sounds really good, you should go for it, I reckon that like really boosts your motivation, and that can get something sort of on paper way faster, because then you're like, oh, that person actually validated this idea I had.
Yeah, that's a good point. And also I had it rattling around for ages, and then I was like, you know what, I need to make myself do it. So I started saying like to you guys, I'm making a D&D campaign. And when I started telling people that I was doing it, I was like, now I've got to do it, because I've been telling people that I'm gonna host a D&D campaign. I better actually sort that out.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
true.
I have the opposite problem when I tell people and they're like, hey man, that's really cool. I'm like, cool, validation. Well, don't need to work on this anymore. Like,
I got what I needed.
Just taking it in as I'm like, yep, people know it exists. Yep. And they like, that's really cool.
See, I knew it was a good idea.
Yeah. Way to go, me. Like,
I'll never touch this again. Yeah.
But see, in the same vein, something like that can really make you hate the idea in the first place, because you share it with somebody and then you have to produce something for it, because it stopped being just an idea in your head that nobody knew about to being this thing that you've promised somebody, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, now I have to like do something for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fine line between staying motivated and not having it feel like work, I suppose. But I mean, I'm glad we got to where we are. I mean, Chris is probably on the money as well. Before we were playing this campaign, Chris ran a homebrew campaign that was a very complete world and story from start to finish. So that probably took you a good chunk of time to get ready for the table, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. Years. I hate, because a lot of work always goes into a creative project, right? And the finished product for me is like way more important as like the main kind of gig, right? So if you run a D&D campaign that you've been brewing for years, but it only takes like, a few weeks to unfold, then all your players ever see is those few weeks, and like they really appreciate it, and it's really cool and interesting, and you had some fun times. And that's what they'll be talking about, right, for ages to come. So that's like the payoff, I guess. Whereas the work leading up to it was like, the preliminary work.
Yeah, for sure. Because that was an awesome... how long did that campaign go for? It was like a year?
It was
the Prevailers of the Poison Mind.
Yeah.
It went for a year.
Yeah.
I know, because like I was like, oh shit, this has been going for a year. Like actually, I never thought it would go that long. But thanks, I appreciate that you enjoyed it.
I've still got my... You can see it in camera. That's my
just gotta do
my certificate for finishing that campaign.
Oh yeah, I love my certificates.
Bro, certificates are...
That's like the main reason why I want to play Kingdoms next time around, so I can get a certificate at the end.
We've got another Kingdoms!
Which I've also got handy at all times.
Certificates, man. If you want one,
I need to get it
play
framed.
my shit.
And like, you know, how doctors have like, you know, all their PhDs and shit on the wall behind them.
Yeah, on,
I'm
like,
gonna
a
have
glass
all my
shelf.
certificates for D&D campaigns and things.
Honestly, that's like the ultimate thing because it's like, you know, it's like I did a doctor. It's like, yeah, well, you know what I did? I finished a goddamn D&D campaign. How many of you did?
Bro,
It's not
that's
easy,
like,
man.
Took you 7 years.
Tom's
Well, my
certificate.
D&D campaign took me 20 years.
At this rate, it'll be 20 years since we started Kye's campaign.
Dude, I saw a, was it a YouTube video?
Yeah.
I think it was on YouTube. I saw a little mini documentary, it might have been Vice or something, about a guy who's been running a D&D campaign, like the same campaign for like 60 years or 40 years or something.
Yeah, I
Like
saw that.
nuts.
oh, yeah. And
Yeah,
he's like,
ages.
yeah.
And in the timeline of the game, like the world has been running for like 100 and something years within, you know, the game's timeline. So
Yeah, and I
It's
think
got,
characters
like,
come and
in
go.
the
history.
plot, they were up to like a demon that was banished at the very start of the campaign had returned
yeah,
and was fighting the players that are playing now. And
That's crazy.
Crazy.
yeah, he was like, yeah, 40 years ago they banished the demon because that was the very
pretty cool.
first quest that they did, or like the very first story arc that they did. And then he's like, yeah, I just decided to bring him back. And I'm like, that's really cool for like 10 people.
Yeah.
You know,
Dude, imagine that though. Imagine like bringing up a story arc from literally 20 years ago, and it's like, oh.
Hey, you know what they have at least? They have like, oh, remember that one time in like the one campaign that we ever played, as opposed to all the campaigns blurring together and being like, wait, was that the one that Kye ran?
Yeah.
Was that the one that Chris
Look,
ran?
Look, all we have to do
Is
is
that the one that I
declare
was
that
playing in
all of our
Greece?
campaigns that we've ever played actually took place in a shared universe.
bro, it's all
Yeah.
canon. It's all
we
canon.
we
right?
find a
It's
way
like
to
a
introduce
multiverse.
like characters among like the different ones, and then it's like, oh well, I guess that's in the same universe now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll just start having like old characters pop up in this just out of the blue.
Hey, it's not
Yeah.
the first time that we had characters cross games.
Yeah.
and campaigns.
Yeah, that is true.
Right before my last campaign finished, my DM attempted to bring in characters from the first campaign that we played together. He was like, "Oh, and you run across these guys. Their names are X, Y, and Z." And we're like, "Oh, hey, we know those guys. We played with them for 4 weeks before our campaign had to finish."
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. I played a All Flesh Must Be Eaten campaign, which was a lot of fun. It's a good system. It's a zombie system. And we were playing in a like arc that was set after another arc that had taken place with another like 4 players, but the same DM. And so we were coming off of the backs of that campaign, and one of the NPCs in this game was a scientist from that game. Very cool. It was all tied in.
That's
and,
cool. Good tie-in.
you know, we were building off of the backs of the last party. Very cool.
I like
That
that.
is really cool.
I like those tie-ins.
Yeah.
It's basically fan service.
Yeah, fan service to the 4 people at the table. That's great.
Yeah, bro, that's where I'm like, you know, with doing like Call of Cthulhu or like Aliens or whatever, I'm like, and then I'll have this that only 2 people at the table will understand.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, man,
this
that-
one thing will happen, just so 2 people can be like, I know what's happening. I know what's happening.
Yeah.
But then you see them grin, and it's like, oh, that was worth it.
Yeah.
Just to see
Yeah.
the look on their face.
That was like,
Yeah.
I had that for my my Ravnica one shot where I had let everyone believe that we were going to be in Waterdeep, and everyone at the table played Magic the Gathering except for Kye. And Kye was like such an outsider for that campaign, but everyone was like, "Is this happening? Is this what's going on? We're in Ravnica." It's just like,
God, that was
yes,
so
we
good.
are.
I was like,
Call me.
cool city, bro.
Call me. Jace, whatever his name is, because I don't know the point of this joke.
I had to basically ask Lachlan what I had to roll so that I could use my actual knowledge of magic, like in character,
Yeah.
so it wasn't metagaming.
Yeah. I did a, I had a character. So the longest long-running campaign that I've got, the one that we do every Good Friday that we've mentioned a few times. One of the arcs, the bad guys were a couple of like alchemists / like necromancer guys that worked out of a shop called Vorkstag and Grinds. Well, their names are Vorkstag and Grind. So their shop was called Vorkstag and Grinds. And then in a totally different campaign, I played an alchemist. And I decided to name his shop the Boar, Stag, and Grime.
Yeah.
And I just said it quick enough, and someone else at the table, I can't remember who it was, I was like, yeah, this is my shop, the Boar, Stag, and Grime. And they were like, wait, whoa, pump the brakes.
Whoa,
Not
wait,
okay.
hold up there.
Just for giggles.
Yeah, so good, the Boar, Stag, and Grime.
God damn.
Alrighty, guys, well, how about we jump across to our table, and then we shall see if we can do a bit of a recap for not just the people watching that have not seen us play for 3 weeks, but for us who haven't played in 3 weeks, to see if we can remember just what the heck is going on.
Yes.
I'll stop playing with my laser pointer then.
You had a laser pointer and you didn't tell us?
Well, it's only because I use it for my cat. He loves it. He's a big fan of the laser pointer.
Classic.
He does the butt wiggles.
Oh, God.
Oh, you mean the shack
Yeah.
shoulders? Like...
He does the ooh. Yeah, no, he does that. It's literally the greatest thing ever. Cause his eyes also get like fucking massive. He's just like
that's what cats do, man. They see
like
the
I
tall
need
mouse
to
and they're like,
I need to see this point of light with all of my pupils open.
Beck, I feel like you just like slid to the bottom left of your screen. I had you. I swear I had you framed up, and now your head is just poking in the corner of your window, like.
She's just getting comfy.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna be here for a while.
Which
at
is
least I
fine.
can-
I just need
What
to
are you
know where you're
talking
going to be
about?
so I can frame you. That's all.
It's...
All right, I'll be sitting like this the whole game.
Yeah.
Is this good, Kai? Let me know if this is good.
Is this...
Look,
Is this working for you?
look, I've given you all fair warning. You can check the stream and see how you look and move your camera to suit. All right.
And that's the correct response.
Otherwise, I have to
Sort yourselves out.
readjust your cameras on 3 different scenes. All right. You can just fix yours manually. All right. All right, gang. Let's start. I mean, should we give a rough recap of the game so far, and then with a bit more focus on recent events, maybe, since it's been
I think so.
so
Yeah.
A full recap would be good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Beck, would you like to start? And feel free to throw the ball to Lachlan whenever you are ready.
Wow.
So, Lachlan, where did we start off?
So,
Thank you, Kai. The name of the campaign is Rolands Landing PD, aka The Watch. All right, Lachlan, off you go.
I get the number of
Just so
that
you know,
bus.
I'm playing a character called Klaus, and Hydric will take it from here.
Hello, my name's Reese. I'm playing Hadrig, child of Ilmater, half-orc paladin. Chris, what are you...
I am playing D&D with my friends. All right, Beck, over you.
All right,
I hate
so
you guys.
we are playing D&D 5th Ed. We're playing a campaign known as RLPD The Watch. We 4 are new recruits to a watch house in the Illaba region of Rolands Landing. We have been hired amidst a smidge of civil unrest, in which we are waiting for the new Princess Charlotte, not Charlotte, to be
Charlotte.
yeah,
Princess makes a chip, right?
Yeah,
Princess Charlotte to be crowned as the new
Princess Chai Latte.
yes, crowned as the new queen/king of Rolands Landing. Lachlan, you go.
Yes. We've all come to the watch for our own different means, and we've been thrust into our role. We're not very good at it, and we'll have different purposes of why we're here. But we're just here to help out the watch and see where it takes us. So, on our first mission, it was our first mission in the interrogation, find out about a missing purse or missing item of an old lady, and we had to interrogate 2 different individuals, and we proved to have done that reasonably okay. Or just okay. Probably just okay.
Oh, hey, you worked out who did it.
We did. We worked out who did it, but I don't think we did it super well. But
There were
we
other
did.
mysteries afoot, and we were really
There are other
bad at
mysteries
doing it.
afoot. But that was the overarching problem that we had at the time. The next thing that we did was go and jump in at any point, because I think we did some stuff before we did our second day, which was out at the watch gates.
No, that was it.
We were shirt fronted by Alpha Squad.
Oh, that's true. Chick, Dick, Chad, Rumblerod, or whatever his name is.
Thick Dick Johnson was
Chadwick Rumblerod. Come on.
Chadwick Thunderbottom. Got it. Let's go.
Chadwick Powerbottom. I have him written in my book as blonde asshole.
Is it wrong?
No, it's 100% correct. So Chadwick, Rumblerod, and the rest of A Squad met us, and we did not get along, and we started a bar fight, which was quickly dispelled, and then we moved on to our second day on the job, which we were patrolling the city gates and checking carts as they were coming in and out of town. We had met a variety of different people, some of which were average, normal people, some of which were 4 scimitars and a trench coat.
We met like Bunny. We were doing contraband duties. We were preventing any contraband coming into the city.
We stole an old man's medicine.
Medicine.
We did.
Met a few different carts, stopped them as they were approaching the gates. We had Bunny, the lunch lady, come around, and we had a Bunny snag, which was a good lunchtime meal. She knew all the guards. We also ran into a pink-haired fellow who had a crackpot van, and his name was Marion Bourgeois.
Marion
Bourgeois.
Bourgeois.
You know, I've got it written. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Marion
I think we had to
Bourgeoisie.
ask we had to ask for the spelling several times because Kye likes to come up with some crazy names like Rumblerod.
I just think of the dog, really. The Bourgeois dog.
We investigated. He seemed like a lovely guy. He didn't have anything sus about him, and he passed the quarantine/checkpoint, and we let him into the city. We then ran into some naysayers or evildoers who were smuggling in wine to the city, or that's what they supposed that they were bringing into the city, when in reality they were smuggling in crossbows and scimitars, and upon discovery they jumped and attacked us on our guard duty, and we were beaten to a pulp before we were rescued by the other guards.
I mean, you guys managed to knock one of them out and disarm another, weren't you? Something like that. You guys did
bonk.
okay.
I
And then
successfully
backup
bonked.
arrived.
I think we got like bonked, and we bonked them, but
Yeah.
it was not unanimous either way.
It was
In the end,
mutual
you took them all
bonking.
into custody, though.
And then we took them into custody within the walls, and that would then get us ready for the end of the day, which then we went and went for a walk. Did we go to the pub that night? I think we did.
Yep, we go just about every night.
Yeah, we go every night.
About every night. And I think after the pub, I don't think anything major happened in the pub other than meeting with
Jacinta.
Cinta, and she was having a mental breakdown.
Jacinta.
Jacinta.
Yes.
Jacinta.
Just Cinta. Yeah.
She was having
Just
she was
into
having a rough
ya.
time. Didn't want to really talk to us that much.
She was
and
very
then-
sad.
Very sad.
Very sad.
But
The
we also didn't
world
explain
is
that
falling apart.
the bar was run by what's his face? Who
Chuli.
is Thule.
Truly.
Truly.
Which happened in the first day. The end of our first day.
Yeah,
Which
you
is
know-
our now regular bar.
Charlotte, and then we got Chuli.
Charlotte, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And then we finished up talking to Jacinta, and we left the bar and we all went home to our respective housing estates. But But I believe Chris wanted a merry adventure, which he's not going to tell you all about, so you'll have to go back and watch the episode.
Yeah,
Chris
what?
Because we don't know what Chris
you're
did.
talking about, dude.
If you want to know about Gabriel's secret nighttime antics, you'll have to go and watch episode, I want to say 4
Hang
It's
on.
gotta be 3 or
3.
I
Might be
think
episode
it's
3.
3.
It's episode 3.
I think it's 3 because it's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same
Yeah.
day
Yeah.
as
Episode
the watch keep.
Yeah.
Correct.
We then rendezvoused back at the Illabar Watchtower the next morning after being well rested and eating some eggs and bacon from their cooked by their loving family. I don't know about the other guys. That's what I had. And then went back to the Illabar Watchtower where we were just about to get into the door and there was a crowd forming in the streets. As we step in the door, we are directed back out into the streets to try and calm down everyone that is at this confrontation / crowd, which then turned out to be 3 gnomes who were blocking the road, and they were being heckled by a group of humans who were trying to pass their goods through the streets. And a crowd had broken out, which just emphasized the social conflict at the moment in the city of Rolands Landing between the gnomes and the humans and what's happening.
Which had
What's
my
happening there.
loyalty get tested since I'm a gnome.
Indeed.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was an
So
interesting.
we did our best. We broke up the crowd as best as we could. We got in there. We confronted the gnomes that were blocking the way. We didn't really want to choose. We weren't choosing any sides, but it's very hard when everyone's hot and heavy, and they've definitely got some pressure on our shoulders in that confrontation. The humans and the elves tried to have a brawl and have a fight, and we got in the middle of it and arrested 2 gnomes, but unfortunately did not get to arrest any of the humans as they were too slippery. One of the gnomes did get away, and in the confrontation as well, Rosefina was passed a note from Marion Bourgeois' assistant,
Timmy.
which said, "Come,
Maybe.
help immediately," or "Come quickly, Marion Bourgeois needs help."
Timothy, yes.
Something along those lines.
We were given a note that basically said that Marion Bourgeois had something he needed to show us, and that we were to head to his lab as soon as humanly possible. Which is hard since I'm a gnome, Lachlan's a dwarf,
as fast as normally possible.
Reese is an orc.
Yep. And just as things were about to get a little bit out of hand, Sergeant
Angle?
Boris Chaplin.
No.
Sergeant Boris Chaplin, the half-orc, stepped
Yep.
in and shot a crossbow, which dispersed the crowd. And we later found out, or presumed, that the carts were actually laid there by the humans and not by the gnomes. And it was just a farce to try and pin the blame on the gnomes and cause conflict, which we never really got to resolve or investigate before we were pulled to the house or location of where Marion Bourgeois was, which we then tried to look around into all the windows and try for a back entrance, but obviously you can always just try the front door, and no one ever tries that first, but we just pushed it open and went in. Which is where we discovered
A dead body.
Nice one, Reese.
Yeah, that
Good recap, bro.
Seamless.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have taken over at any point.
No,
Actually,
you were
everyone was-
hard and
everyone
fast,
was
man.
I'm standing there watching the skipping rope go around, and I'm just like,
Yeah, we could not get a word in. Your recap was just, it was fire, bro.
It was like 80% accurate. That's good.
it wasn't
80%
lies.
pretty good. That's probably more accurate than our memory is, you know?
Anyway, we still have a session to cover. So we found a dead body. Found Marin dead in the house, and Rosefina's boyfriend nowhere to be found.
That's true.
Upon investigating the house, we did, however, find a small pouch in a small bed, which was filled with Facilin coins, leading us to believe that there may be an attempt happening within the city.
Espionage.
A plot.
So it's Facilin, by the way, with an F. So we then began to do some investigations around town, because there was also a religious amulet found with coins. So we went to various places, including a church.
It was a Sigajan Earthcaller amulet that
Yep.
we found.
Yeah.
So we went to the church of Sigajan Earthcaller. We also went to a gem, a jeweler,
A jeweler,
I guess.
Silver.
Yep.
Goldsmith.
And we gathered some information there. I'm really butchering this, so someone else please
Yeah,
jump in.
so we went to the church of the Segajan, so that we could find out if they knew anything about the coins or the necklace that we had found. And they said that there was an F symbol on there, which we assumed was for
Fernando. All right, I'm taking over. So, comprehensive note taker here. So,
Good.
yeah, we went to the temple. We showed her the amulet. There was an F symbol on it, and so she, what is her name? I don't have that written down. Nima. I actually literally just saw it. I have it here. Nima's right there. Anyway, point is, she takes a look at the amulet and she says, that looks like Fernando's sigil. He works out in the market area. And so she points us out that way. And he works at Fernando's Fineries. So we go out. He has a lisp. The sigil that he puts on his stuff is not the same as the one we found with the amulet. And he's actually told us that because it's made of gold, it's a little more to do with Gelth Darkarth, and all of their stuff is made of gold. Right?
Yeah, pretty close. He said that at least in the city and the Earthcaller amulets that he's looked at are generally made of silver at the finest, but usually more mundane, kind of, low-key materials.
Whereas this one was made with gold,
It was
wasn't
made
it?
with gold. And
Yep.
generally speaking, the Gelth Darkarth followers tend to be a bit more flashy with their amulets and lean towards the gold a bit more.
After that, we kind of found ourselves a little stuck, so instead we opted to head to the tavern that I directed Timothy towards when I met him, when we searched his
the
car.
one that you named specifically.
Yes.
The Burrow.
The Burrow.
We went to the Burrow because I didn't know what to call it.
See,
I meant
names are
to call
hard.
it that. Names are hard when you're asked to come up with them on the
Sometimes you come up with double ups.
fly. So with this whole thing, we're looking for Timothy. We're trying to find him. We head to the Burrow, which is like one of the last places we thought to check since he went there on my recommendation. And it turns out he's there hiding out from whoever killed his patron. So we get a bit of information from him. Because whilst we were at the workshop, we figured there was something being created, some device. And we found diagrams and stuff. And so we didn't know what to make of it. And Timothy explained that the amulet and the coins aren't his. Chances are they're planted by the murderers. Marin knew they were being followed. When Timothy came to give us the note, by the time he got back, Marin was dead. Marin was fascinated with harnessing electricity, and the table that was in the workshop actually had a machine set up on it, and it's a machine that is able to harness the power of electricity and potentially be used for dangerous and nefarious purposes. So,
Unlimited power.
yes. And then I told him to smuggle himself out of the city because I know how to do that.
Indeed, you gave him the directions to someone who would get him out of the city. While you were having the chat with Timothy, the other three sat in the common room of the burrow.
Sticking out like a sore thumb.
Indeed. And as we ended last session, the three of you overheard a pair of gnomes talking about, quote, shutting him up. while casting glances towards the hallway that Rosie had headed down to speak to Timothy.
That is exactly where we left off, isn't it?
And that is where we left off, and that means we're basically up to date. We probably missed some minutiae there and some bits and pieces, but if you want all that in detail, go watch the other ones.
That's right.
And then you'll be all caught up. And then when you get back to this one, you can skip all of that, or listen to it and see how far off the mark we were.
And how terribly unorganized it was as we tried to explain what happened.
You should definitely take this episode, watch it all on YouTube, and then right at the end of watching it all on YouTube, comment what we missed.
Yes.
There'll be just an enormous list of things.
Yeah.
But you can't
Paragraphs.
comment until you've watched the whole video.
That's the
All of it.
requirement. Alright, so with that, I'm going to start the focus clock. I still didn't start it first because we would have burnt through half the time doing the recap. So thank you for jumping into chat, Grizzly Gaming and Stormo. We have seen you. Thank you. Welcome. Please enjoy, and we'll be back in about an hour to catch up. See how you guys are enjoying things. So, the three of you sit in the very cozy, let's say, common room of the burrow. And while waiting for Rosie to finish up her chat with Timothy, see these two gnomes casting glances at the hallway that Rosie's headed down, and they begin moving towards the front door of the tavern, moving to head outside, and you catch them mumbling one to the other, something, something, shut him up, something, something, as they head towards the door.
Yep, I use my dark vision to lip read that they can speak gnomish and that they want to shut Timmy up.
Alright, that's it, guys. Pack it
I'm
up.
glad you added that in there for flavor. That was so necessary.
It's flavor text.
Let's do this again in 3 weeks' time, huh?
I would also like to reiterate, I too have dark vision.
Alright, anyone else want to get dark vision off their chest before we start?
Yeah,
I'm not in the room, so it's not relevant yet.
That's fair.
Yet.
Cool. So they're at the door, and they're gesturing. Are they doing anything else?
Well, at the moment, they're
about to move towards where Timmy and that is.
I know they're walking towards the front door, like as if to head outside.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Well, maybe we should go get Rosie and Timothy and get out of here.
I like the sound of that plan.
I mean, unless you want to go out there and fight them in the street and find out what they want, but
Hey,
I
they
feel
might
like
be talking
their
about
lives
someone
might be in
else to
danger.
shut up. Like, you never
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Those guys are big trouble. We should go save Rosie and Timmy.
If they're gnomes,
Right.
wouldn't they be little big trouble?
Yeah. I don't know, they didn't seem so big to me. Maybe it's because I'm a half orc.
Big
and
trouble
I'm
in
bigger than
Little
everyone else.
Illawarra.
Horrible. These guys are medium trouble.
I would say they're medium-sized creatures.
Well, let's get up from the table and head towards the corridor where Rosie had disappeared.
Yep. You guys
Yeah.
get up, which draws even more attention from the other patrons of the bar,
Yeah.
and head towards the hallway where Rosie's talking to Timothy. You don't know which door she went into, though. You're faced with 3 doors down the left-hand side of the hallway.
Well, there's 3 doors, and there's 3 of us. Shall we
Are
take
you
a door
thinking
each?
what I'm thinking,
Yeah.
B1?
I'm thinking what you're thinking, B2.
It's door knocking time.
Yeah.
Alright, Hadrick, you get the first door. Klaus,
Yep.
you the second. I'll head down the end.
Why do they need to be knocked all at the same time? What is this, like, you knock them in the right order and then, like, the door, like, the secret passage opens?
I feel
It's
your
clearly
heart
a
beat
puzzle.
to the beat of the drums.
Yeah. This is just the Monty Hall problem again in
Thank you.
D&D.
Oh, I'm surprised it's not 6 doors and we're not Scooby-Dooing everywhere.
Missed opportunity, Kai.
Yeah.
Hadrian.
Sorry, I should have got the
knocks-
Benny Hill theme music
Alright,
out.
I knock on the first door,
Oh, okay.
and I'm like, I knock on the first door. Rosie, are you in there?
First door there is
No.
no response after you knock on the door.
Hey, Kai, just quickly, which door am I behind?
You're behind the second door.
Thank you.
Hadrian knocks on the third door. Hadrian knocks on the second door.
Rosie,
Hello?
you hear what sounds like fairly heavy-handed knocking on the door of the room that you're in.
It's very high up on the door as well. Rosie? Are you in there?
I quickly, I just tell Timothy, and then I go back and I open the door a crack, and I'm like, what's up?
Yo, we think, Tim might be in trouble. Words are hard. I haven't done this for a while. Tim might be in trouble. We may need to move him out of here soon.
Okay. And I close the door. I turn back to Timothy and
She
I'm
was
like,
behind this door, lads.
Gabriel's
Nicely
halfway through
done.
pounding on the third door.
are you in there? All right. So with that limited information I've been given, I turn back to Timothy and I just say, the boys think there may be trouble. I think it's time to move. So I'm like, you should probably get up and come with us, and I'll try and get you out of here. So I just like,
All right, I'm starting to worry about this place anyway. Like I said, I've been getting some looks, and I swear I'm being followed now. What did you say the name was of that person that could get me out of the city?
his name is Kellen Garrick. I'll speak to the bartender. I'll get him to send a message off to Garrick to help you get out.
Just thinking of Garrick from Magic the Gathering. I'm like, holy shit,
well,
Garrick, he could get out of anywhere.
Yeah.
You take the lead, Rosie.
All right. I open the door, and I kind of look side to side, acknowledging my fellow watch members.
Hello.
What's up?
And I'm just like, wait here with the guys. I'm gonna go talk to the barkeep and scout ahead. Hopefully me looking ahead won't arouse too much suspicion for getting us out. So I just turn to Hadrig and I'm like, look after him. Just,
I give Rosie a nod, and then I turn to Tim. I'm like, hello, I'm Patrick.
all right, and with that, I walk back to the exit for the hallway that leads out to the main bar.
Sure. As you enter the main room, you swear there's less people in here than there were before.
Oh, good. Good. I take a look around to see if the bartender's still behind the bar.
He is. He's got a sort of shrewd look on his face as you come around the corner.
Okay.
Got what you need? I'd prefer you leave sooner rather than later.
Totally understand. Quick thing. I've given Tim Badger's name. I'd like to get him out of the city so that he can get away from all of this and not be incarcerated for something he didn't do. I need you to help me pass along a message to him to help him get out of the city safe.
The bartender sort of casts a glance around the common room and then leans towards you and lowers his voice. Look, I'll do what I can, but you guys better get out of here. A few of the fellas just left, and when they come back, they probably won't be alone, if you take my meaning.
Got it. Should we take Tim with us, or can you keep him safe?
Probably for the best that you take him. There's not many places I can hide him in here, and I'm not going to be standing in between a bunch of those hammer nuts and the guy they want.
Got it. I tell Badger to come and pick him up from the Illabel Watch House. We'll take him there, try and keep him safe, and he can come collect him from there.
You want Badger to meet at a watch house? I'll pass the message
Around
on.
there are alleys. He can hang out. I'll come out and meet him. Like, it's just collect him from there so nobody dies, all right? I won't arrest you. You'll be fine.
All right.
All right, and then
the worst sting operation of all.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Have the people smuggler meet us at the police station.
Shut up. I don't know where else
Here,
to
I'm here to
go.
pick up my package.
You never know.
Are you Badger? I
Oh,
don't know
no.
who's this Badger character. I'm just on my way out.
I am Guy Incognito.
Fucking hell.
Alrighty. I head back to my fellow watchmates. I can hear guffawing in the hall.
As you head back to the hallway,
Hallway.
a few more people in the main room seem to be making ready to leave, almost like they can sense something, some trouble's brewing.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Well,
Spaghetti.
What's up, Rosie?
All right, we have to leave. There's trouble coming. So we should get out of here to make sure that we don't get wailed upon for being big boys in uniforms.
well, time to hit the
Two of us
old
will get wailed on for
dusty
being big
track.
boys.
Yeah. One of you's a gnome, and another one is as tall as a gnome.
Well, let's get back to the watch house then.
I think that'll be best. Keep Tim safe for now, and then we'll pass him off to help him get out of the city.
That's a funny way of saying interrogate.
I mean,
Very well.
that's
Let's get out of here.
absolutely it. We're taking him back to the watch house to interrogate him, question him, possibly arrest and charge him. Meanwhile, I just turn to Tim and I'm like, not really. And then we just, yep, arrest.
Gabriel's warming up his
He's, like,
toenail pulling
terrified.
pliers.
Alright,
Alrighty, we should go.
let's go. I'll head out into the main area first and check to see exactly how many gnomes are left, and then head for the door.
As you move into the common room, there's now only 2 patrons left in the room, along with the barkeep. The 2 in the room seem to be as sort of far back in the shadows of the corner as they can be, and they are looking sort of nervous.
Quickly, guys, come on. Do we want to put Tim under Hadrig's robes or something?
I don't have much room under my robes.
That's fine. I quickly turn to the barkeep and I'm like, is there another way out of here that isn't the front door?
To the front or the back, that's all there is.
Shall we go out the back door?
I think... Would it be worth... I'm asking my fellow party members here. Would it be worth us sending one person out the front, one person out the back, and just seeing if there's an ambush waiting?
Nope.
All
I'll
right,
go
I
out
say...
the front. I'll go
Gabriel,
out the
do you
front
wanna-
and I'll scream if something goes wrong. Stay here near the corridor. If you hear me screaming, run the
There's
other way.
something wrong.
Run the other way. Leave me to die. That's.
Leave me to my doom.
I'm gonna
Gabriel?
take charge like I always do, and I'm gonna just strut towards the front of the bar and just pull my hood up a little further and just sort of make it look like, I was an unwelcome patron just leaving just like everyone else is.
Sure. So you head out the front door of the burrow. It's moving into evening now. The light is starting to dim, and especially in this part of the city, in the boroughs, always kind of feels darker than it is. Partially due to the claustrophobic nature of the buildings, stacked up on top of each other and that sort of thing. And as you walk out, you don't see anything immediately, but can you make me a perception check?
That I can. And I will try to find my sheet.
How did dice work? It's been a while.
Yeah, right.
Ugh.
3.
3.
They don't call me Dunshot for nothing.
Yeah.
The street looks,
Oh no.
kind of empty, a little bit dark. As you look down one direction, you kind of see the back of what you assume was one of the patrons of the bar that's kind of left, turned down an alley and leaving. You sort of look left and right, and don't notice anything that catches your eye.
Alright, I'll peer back through the front door and I'll give like a short whistle over to the boys and gesture, come here.
Yep.
Okay,
Alright.
let's go.
As you are turning back and saying that to the party, you sort of turn back to the street. And as you're turning back out onto the street, you hear a voice call out, although you can't quite pinpoint where it's coming from. And with that perception roll, you probably don't make out what it says necessarily, but there seems to be a fairly strong voice calls something from an alleyway nearby, but you aren't really sure what.
Hey kid, want to see a dead body?
I'm gonna firmly grasp my longbow, but I'm not gonna make any sudden movements, and I'm just gonna stay put and wait for my friends to accompany me before I move off.
Sure. The three of you inside, Gabriel's just called you towards the front door.
I move Tim to between, like I stand behind him, but I move him in between Hadrig and Klaus, and then I stand behind him.
Little entourage.
I feel it's necessary.
Yep. And I think we all approach the door.
We approach the door.
Yep. So you guys head out into the street.
Yep.
Yes. Yes.
As you step out onto the street, at first you take in much the same as Gabriel, fairly empty-looking streets. Can the three of you give me perception checks, please?
Sure. That is an 18 for hatred.
Nice.
18 for Klaus.
Nice.
Nice.
Rosie, how are your eyeballs tonight?
Oh!
Very
My
good.
eyeballs
Nat
are
20.
open.
24 in
Guess
total.
it's because I didn't have dark vision, right?
Actually, I think the dark vision helped. Stepping out into the evening, it helps that I have dark vision.
Perhaps
Does
it
that
is the
up my
dark
roll
vision
at all?
that gives the three of you an edge. You notice in the alley directly opposite the three of you as you exit the burrow, there's a man standing, sort of leaning against the wall of the alley, clearly with his hand on a sword or some sort of weapon on his belt. And then, as you're sort of taking this in, you hear the click of a lock behind you as the door you just exited locks behind you.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
That's my new favorite.
Doopy doopy doo.
As you stand taking this in, a few
All
moments
right.
later... Sorry, you got something?
I thought you
to
said,
say,
how do you stand?
With my legs.
With my feet.
With my foot.
If you guys aren't taking any immediate action, the man in the alley steps out into view, and the four of you take a second, but you actually recognize this man. And as he steps forward, he says something in a language that only one of you understands, as far as I know. I think Gabriel's the only one that speaks Facilian.
Correct.
Is that right?
I do. Except I had to pretend that it was something else, right? For
Yeah.
in D&D there is no such Fusilin.
Yeah, you gave it some other name.
Yeah.
That's okay.
But yes.
I don't think anyone else took the language.
No, not at all.
So, well, the other three of you just excuse us for just a moment.
Oh.
Do we need to mute ourselves?
No, that's all right. You stay where you are.
Okay.
Oh, that
Alright.
one's gone.
The man... Oh, I've killed your cameras. Oh, well. The man stepping out of the alley
What is going on?
passes his gaze across the four of you and says in
I
Facilian,
wonder.
well, I'm not sure which one of you
They've gone into another.
it is, but I must thank you for making sure that our goods got into the city
I don't think we're
Not
unimpeded.
again.
I was
We're not.
told you were reliable, and I had my doubts.
No,
but it
we're
appears
not.
they were unfounded.
I
Um,
briefly checked into the stream to see if you could hear you guys
Well.
talking, but you can't.
Of course, now that you know you can trust me, I deliver,
they're,
as I have proven.
Is this you replying
Yeah.
in Facilian as
I
in
mean, Kai's
Gabriel?
gone into a chat with
Yes.
Chris, and so he's in a different channel.
Ah, good. I
So
should have
things are
guessed.
all black.
Now, hand over this
Sorry.
little one, and we can carry on
Secret
with our
convo. Secret
That I
convo.
can try to do, but I
Is
must
this-
make it look
Is this where Chris
Through
turns
the
up?
like a fight. I'm sure you understand.
Oh, mate, you know his deep dark
Very
secret
well.
is actually that
I should
he
try not
is
to hurt you
Facilian,
too badly.
Mm-hmm.
and that's where he's come from.
Oh,
Like he's
hello?
And with that, the man draws his scimitar.
Wow!
Well, I guess it's time to
Chris,
pull out my
can
weapons.
you turn your camera
Guess
back
I
on, please?
paused it.
I broke
the
it.
wrong order. You broke it. You absolutely broke it.
Uh-oh.
What just transpired in front of us?
Chris, I need your camera.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I broke it when I
Totally
dragged you into
tuned off.
another chat. Technical. There we go.
You
All
did,
good?
yeah, you dragged. You just like.
I should have just got you guys to
Yeah,
defend
guys.
yourselves, but that's okay.
At first, I
Guys,
thought
I'm-
all three of you like took the initiative to leave, and I was like, "Ah, sweet, that's that's good on them, kudos." And then I was like, "Oh, hang on, I've been dragged."
The three of you see the man step from the alleyway, and he begins speaking in a language that some of you may recognize as Fusilan, just by the cadence and sort of, in the same way we would recognize some languages without understanding them. He says something as he's looking over the group of the five of you. Then Gabriel replies and says something in the same language. The man then kind of locks eyes with Gabriel, has another short sentence. Gabriel replies. The man says something else,
Sorry.
and then pulls his scimitar.
Wow.
As this conversation, as this exchange is happening, the gears start turning in your head, and you realize that this is Pauline, the man that you arrested for trying to bring crossbows into the city a couple of days ago.
Oh. How'd he get out of prison?
Yeah. What the heck?
And
Alright.
as he walks into the alleyway drawing his scimitar, two gnomes follow him from the alley, and you recognize these as the two that left, muttering something about shutting him up.
All right, I draw my
What's
short
Pauline?
sword.
Pauline.
I draw my halberd.
Yep, probably a good idea.
All right, and
I,
then let me just get the table set up here.
While you're doing that, I quickly ask Tim, do you have a weapon?
No, I don't carry anything like that.
Fuck's sake.
And upon hearing the no, I reach down to my boot, I pull out my dagger, and I hand it to him.
He kind of takes it gingerly. I don't really know how to use it, but thanks.
I mean, I can give him my club. Would that be easier? Would you prefer a club? Do you want to bonk some people?
No, I think a blade is probably my preference.
All right, you're welcome, by the way. And then I go back.
Thanks.
I want that back, though. You can't.
This is a loan,
Can't-
just to be clear.
I want it back.
Cool. And
Secret chat.
may I please have initiative roll? Hang on, let me get the initiative thing set up first so that we try not to break it.
All right.
Alright, so you gotta select your character. I'll wait for you to kind of pull up the initiative track.
Yes.
When you say select your character,
So you click on your token on the screen before you make your roll.
Nice. Good advice.
Yep.
Otherwise, I would have totally just rolled.
Yeah.
Is the initiative track on the top left now? One of those tools.
Yeah, I definitely remember how to do it.
Are you in
Yeah,
the? Are you
it
in
hasn't
the
been a
correct,
month.
You in the correct user?
That's a good question. Probably not. I'm all out of sync here.
Technical
You're all out of
difficulties.
practice.
All out of practice, exactly.
That's what happens when
Found it. There it is.
There we go.
Yay!
Where was it?
It was on the left, but yeah, I was using the spectator user instead of the real user because I'm a big Golumba.
Yeah, big Golumba.
All right, guys,
Alright.
go ahead and roll those initiatives
Yeah.
now for us.
14
I may be-
got
for Klaus.
an 8.
I may be misremembering how to do this.
Click on your character, then go to your character sheet, and next to your armor class is the initiative button.
Oh. Character.
No, now I've got too many of you.
Initiative. Hey!
Hey.
Nicely done.
Jesus.
Is that two in a row, Beck?
That's
Yep.
yeah,
Damn.
2 20s in a row.
That means I'm rolling ones for the rest of this campaign.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
To even it out.
get ready for the tables to turn.
Oh,
How
how
the-
the turntables.
Damn it. You beat me to it.
Wait, you know how the turntables, but you don't know any of the other office quotes I did on Wednesday?
No, I haven't watched The Office.
No,
Just
not
know the
you.
turntables.
I mean, The Office is very good.
I've heard that before. I haven't. Like, I've watched a little bit of The Office.
I can't even remember what I was quoting. Like what I quoted
I mean,
on Wednesday.
It's like The Simpsons. You don't have to watch The Simpsons. The internet's just full of memes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got Tom with a That's a Simpsons reference the other day, and it was so good.
Nice.
I loved it so much.
Filing for divorce.
We were watching a documentary about sci-fi movies, and Planet of the Apes came on, and I was just like, Dr. Seuss, Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss, Dr. Seuss.
All right, back on track.
Alright.
All right,
Cheers.
Rosie, you're up first.
Oh, really? Okay.
Just before you go, Rosie, sorry to butt in.
No, please
Can
do.
I take a talk action to say something to my group?
Yes, of course.
I say, guys, this could be very dangerous, and I think if things start to go sour, we need to look after ourselves and our own lives. So just be aware.
Okay.
Okay.
This is concerning.
I'm very worried. Alright.
Alrighty. I wish I'd pulled out my short bow. Because
I
I don't want to take the action to put my sword away.
pull out my gun.
I pull out me Bobby.
Little Billy Club.
My Billy. Club.
My D&D book is covered in so much crap.
I mean, you could drop your sword if Kye would allow that as a free action, and then use your action to draw your bow.
I think instead...
I'm
If
not
Kye would allow that.
100% sure of the rules as written, but I'm happy for you to use your move action to sheath your sword, pull your bow.
No, it's fine. I've made the... Oh no, I have a player's handbook here.
Yeah, but it's covered in crap.
Well, yeah. But I can vary it out from underneath stuff.
Hey,
I don't need you enabling me. Damn it. That's fine. I instead ready myself for what I can only imagine is going to be a very nasty onslaught. What have you done to this book?
Used it for 5 years?
Alright. It's got scratches all on the back. It's weird. It's not smooth.
Look, don't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to.
Yeah, well. So I
Tom
ready.
could find it.
Well, I am too. I thought I stole his handbook. Anyway, I ready myself because I've pulled out my short sword. It's about to get close quarters. I don't want to waste time putting my sword away, pulling out my bow, putting my bow away, pulling out my sword again. So I'm overly cautious. I'm ready. I am
Sure.
ready for whatever they want to throw at me. I don't like going first.
So you ready it? You ready an attack action? If
Yes, I'm
if
ready
an
in.
enemy comes within range.
Okay.
Yes, I am ready in attack action.
Cool. No worries at all. So that's if someone moves within striking distance. You're gonna
Yes, like
you're
a
gonna go
viper.
ahead and give them a bonk.
Give him a whooping.
Cool. I like it. All right.
Hey Kye, do you have a token
grab-
for Tim?
I don't. To be honest, I didn't expect you to bring him with you. So
Okay.
he's here. Spoiler warning: he's not going to be much good in a fight. But you know what? Actually, I've probably got a gnome we can use.
It's just me.
Just duplicate
It's
you.
just another.
It's a palette swap.
Just pull the old RGB slider out. What's the hue on this bad boy? Let's turn it into the blues.
Just
I
copy
know that.
Hadrig and then make it 50%.
I know that this was a
size.
gnome that we used as a bad guy previously, but
Oh,
that's going to be our stand-in
That's
for
That's
Timothy. You kind of had him behind you guys, right? That was sort of your
Yeah.
book.
I was going to use it
order.
as a meat shield, but okay.
Go for it. I'm all for that.
Let's
Fine
work on
by
my end.
me. All right. So then we move to Pauline, who strides forward directly up to Klaus. And
Plus?
as he does, he brings his scimitar down in a vicious blow from above.
Oh no.
I see. I see the light, surely.
Oh, no!
I see the light.
A natural 20 on his first hit.
That is a hit.
It is? Are you sure?
Yeah. Do you wanna,
I don't know.
He needs
Oh,
some milk.
Okay.
Stop, he's
Klaus is
already
getting
dead.
cut, man. You're getting
Reese,
cut in twain.
my rules guy.
Yes.
I'm just confirming before I cheat. You don't confirm criticals in 5th ed, do you?
No, you don't.
So it's an automatic
You
crit.
just- Oh no.
Oh, that's not cool.
All right.
You're in a bad way, man.
So. That is
Thanks, Jimmy Carr.
Sorry?
Nothing. It's Chris's laugh.
Oh yeah, that was a laugh and a half.
That is a total of 9 damage.
Excellent. I'm down.
What?
You're not actually down, right?
I am. I was on 9 health apparently.
Oh no.
I think you missed. I think you missed earlier when I was talking to the others. I don't think we factored in. I gave you guys a long rest as part of your like level up and all that. So
Sorry.
Thank
Well, then
goodness.
I would be on 4 if that is.
Yeah.
So I am still alive.
so that means that you can use your like level 2
Yeah.
abilities and
Yeah.
stuff. I didn't want to nerf you guys when I had scaled certain combats to level 2.
All right. I take a mighty blow.
That is a mighty
Right,
blow.
okay.
This brutal scimitar hit from above. It's a heavy, well-made weapon.
I tried to warn you, Klaus.
It's a bad time.
I didn't have a chance.
Klaus is taking damage. He's taking it to his face. He just
We
can't
should have.
get it
We
out.
should never have left the pub. This over drinking? I think not.
All right. Next up is the gnome that was to his left, who again runs directly forward. As he does, he's pulling a dagger, and he lunges directly at Hadrid.
Uh-huh. Oh, AC of 17.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a miss with a
Deflected.
8 on the dice. Yep. So as he runs forward and lunges with his dagger, you manage to sidestep it without taking any damage. Next up is Klaus. You've got Pauline
Full
directly in
health
front of you,
left.
who's just landed this brutal hit. Gabriel's to your right.
I see.
Hadrid to your left,
You're
who's just been
see.
attacked by one of the gnomes.
You're somewhat disemboweled.
Just slightly.
But
Somewhat.
Somewhat.
It's just a couple of intestines hanging out.
just enough to go, hang on a sec.
just a little disemboweled. It's
You
still
know-
good. It's still good.
Yeah, I feel when you had a plan of attack and then you got your face beat in and you're just like, now what do I do?
Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
right. Mike Tyson.
Oh god damn it.
Yeah, this ain't good, man.
Yeah, this is not good. This is not good. I think I'm gonna have to like disengage. To like move out of the way as I wish to not like be attacked again.
You could do
I'm
that
going
and then
to-
like maybe whisk little gnome like to safety or something.
Little gnome
It actually
Timmy.
looks like you've picked him up when you put your character like under him.
I move my knight to what is that?
Queen to
Rosie's
E5.
back one. Sure. You take a step backwards, being sure to keep your guard up so that Pauline can't land another hit, and
H1.
shuffle a few steps to your left to put Hadrid between you and Pauline.
You're at Hadrig.
You got this, buddy.
Next up is Gabriel, You've got Pauline just in front of you to the left, and the second gnome, the third assailant, is giving you some evil eyes from across the alleyway, looking like they're ready to come and make a move towards you.
I found
Reese,
love in a
rules guy.
hopeless place.
What's the ruling using a bow and arrow whilst in like close range combat?
I believe that is an
I'm fairly
attack
sure
of
it's-
opportunity.
I thought there was a disadvantage if it was too
It
close.
might be disadvantage. I don't use ranged weapons.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's going to be some sort of penalty, right? Because like he's right there with a scimitar, so if he's going to
Ranged
try
attacks.
and
If you make a ranged attack against targets within a specific range, ranged attacks in close combat, aiming ranged attacks in more difficult when a foe is next to you. When you make a ranged attack with a weapon, a spell, or some other means, you have disadvantage on the attack roll if you are within 5 feet of a hostile creature who can see you and who isn't incapacitated by your dark vision.
There you go. You have disadvantage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have dark vision, so that figures.
So,
Shit, man, I don't fuck. It's
So-
like because I would have to use a disengage to like leave his threatened area, right, and then get him
Yeah.
a good
Yeah.
position. So I'd miss a turn, and then who knows how
Yeah.
much damage Hadric is going to take.
so unless
Don't worry.
I'm the tank, don't worry.
I got defibs on the ready.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Your boy
man.
your boy took points in defense, so
Yeah. Klaus is like, I'm just going to back up because I'm the healer.
Oh, what's my hang on?
You got
sorry
this,
to
Hadric.
Take so long.
Show him who's boss.
What's my longbow at? +5.
Dude, just take disadvantage. Just
Like
try.
if I take it and like I'm lucky
Do
to
something cool.
roll. No,
bro, you could roll 2 20s.
You could.
I could.
It's possible.
I could do that. It's what a 1 in 400 chance.
It's
Oh,
a
if you
chance,
say
still
so.
a chance.
Can I take like a guarded step in this game, or is that a Pathfinder thing?
No, I don't think so. I think we've been over this previously.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe I can draw aggro for like a turn, and then I'm gonna need some mad defibs, like serious. So I'll shoot at Pauline with my longbow.
You'll shoot
It's
at
just that
Pauline.
just so
Is there a? I mean, I guess you're already at disadvantage, but he's also
Yeah, like-
within 5 feet, like close range.
yeah. I don't know if there's anything else I can do because like I could take out my sap, you know.
I mean, I guess there's the other gnome you could shoot at, but
yeah, I was gonna say like you could aim for her.
Oh, so I wouldn't actually get disadvantage on the.
you still
gnome.
would because he's within 5 feet of you.
5 feet, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Let me just quickly have a look here.
You could beat him with your short bow or your long bow.
Just pummel him.
There's an
It is
equivalent
a
to like
stick.
point blank
Just use the
shot
arrow like a dagger.
in 5e.
Oh, as like an ability?
Yeah, so point blank shot means that being within 5 feet of a hostile creature does not impose disadvantage on your ranged weapon rolls. Yeah, I mean, I guess the way I read this is you still just have disadvantage. So for now, that's what we're going to go with, and we can correct it later if it's wrong. So for
Alright.
now, it's disadvantage whether you shoot at Pauline or...
Okay. All right, Klaus, I'm gonna need you to back me up here. I'll shoot at Pauline with my longbow. I'll take disadvantage.
Oh heck!
There,
Here
here
we
we go. I'm rolling twice. So the first roll is a 19,
Okay, 19.
Oh.
go. Ooh,
and the second roll
come on.
is a.
No!
Oh, come on!
Unfortunate. You
Rip.
knock an arrow...
I would love to be on the roof right now, or something, or like from an archer's parapet. That'd be nice.
But
Hey,
you
hey,
chose
fast.
to have a conversation with the bad guy. This is on you.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know what? You should have cast
did this
Spider
to
Climb and got the hell out
myself.
of there.
It's true. Yeah,
Uh,
probably.
You pull an arrow, knock it, and turn to fire it at Pauline. But because you're so close, he uses his elbow and actually knocks the bow, so that it's not pointed at him, and your arrow goes flying off over the roofs to land who knows where.
Alrighty. I yell a curse word in Fusillan. Merde.
Ah, merde.
Murder.
Hey,
Yeah,
Drink,
you just murdered someone with your.
Yo.
you have
Yeah, some
nimbly
poor-
sidestepped
Passerby.
the dagger that was coming your way, and you
Yep.
now have 2 assailants in front of you as Klaus has taken a few steps backwards.
too easy. I'm going to aim for Pauline. One, because he did a big attack against Lachlan.
Klaus.
And two, I beat the shit out of him outside of the castle gates, and you best believe I'm gonna beat the shit out of him here.
I'll do it again.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it too. I'm gonna make sure you're going back to prison for a long time. I take a swing with my halberd.
Are you saying that?
Yeah.
He
Oh, look at
So
that.
that's
20.
That's
a
a
nice
20.
hit. As you say
I'm
that,
also-
he sort of
yeah.
chuckles, but very quickly that turns to concern as you throw this brutal attack his way.
I'm also going to expend one of my spell slots to do Divine Smite.
Ooh.
So it deals an extra 2d8 damage. 2d8
Yo.
radiant damage. So I do 1d10 plus 3.
Plus 2d8.
Plus 2d8. So that's
Far out.
10 plus...
Oh.
Jesus, Hatrig.
Oh.
So that's 21 damage.
Wow.
Whoa!
Far out.
GG.
All right. That's with your halberd.
Yes.
All right. You whip your halberd around in this sort of shorter grip than normal because of the range, and bring it up underneath Pauline's guard, and you catch him in the armpit of his left arm and sort of wrench the halberd backwards, and you see blood splatter out between the gaps of his leather armor, and he takes a moment to stagger backwards and clutch at the wound for a moment before turning his full attention of you as he swings the scimitar around in his other hand.
Roll to hit a major artery.
Back me up, lads, please.
That was so much damage. Well done.
That was. So it was a total of how much? So 20...
21.
21.
So the halberd did 7 plus 3, so 10 slashing damage.
Yep.
And then I did 11 radiant damage.
Nice. Nice. As you pull your scimitar back, the edge is faintly glowing for a split second before it fades. Zap.
Zip.
Later.
Finally, the second gnome to follow Pauline out of the alley pulls 2 daggers from their belt, one in each hand, and rushes towards Gabriel. And lunges with both daggers.
Uh-oh.
I'm in
Oh.
danger.
Rolls a 2. Terrible.
My heart. My heart.
My heart, my soul.
Luckily,
I saw a 20 and an 18. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
luckily, with such a long wind-up, you're well and truly ready, and manage to easily dodge past the attack.
Yeah.
Now let's go to Timothy's turn. He looks to his side, Klaus, as you're walking sort of past him to the other side. He's like, what do I do? What do I do? He's just kind of clutching this dagger like he has no idea what he's doing with it.
Take cover. Stay down.
All right.
Just drops prone.
Stop, drop, and roll. You're on fire, Timothy.
And with that, he's going to scoot to the opposite side of you and take your advice by taking cover behind you.
No.
Rosie, since your last turn, Klaus has taken a step to stand behind you, and so has Timothy. You've got Hadrig to your right, and he's currently squaring off against, looks like two enemies. He's fighting Pauline, but he's still got this other assailant in front of him with a dagger.
So, I remember that I'm a rogue.
Good thing to know. Good thing to remember.
It's a good thing to remember. So, with my short sword attached, I am going to sort of, just a little bit, just because no one has their attention on me. Little man is focused on Hadrig, Pauline's focused on Hadrig, and little girl focused on Gabriel. So I'm going to sneak around to here.
Just a few sneaky steps.
Just subtle. And I'm going to sneak attack him with my short sword. Because my short sword is a finesse weapon and I'm able to do that. Which basically means I can attack with an extra 1d6 of damage.
Do it.
And I have advantage. I do have advantage as well because Hadrig is flanking him.
Yes.
So, hitting him first.
That's
just
deep.
Just with flanking, it's drawing a line through the enemy. So you'd have to be on the other side.
Okay,
Yeah,
so if you take
that's
another
right.
step, that'll be flanking.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought flanking was just two sides.
No, so it's drawing a line through the enemy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have always been told flanking rules wrong then, so.
Yes, that is 100% correct.
Okay. That's fine.
Not
So, I mean,
to be
it's
that
like-
guy, but yes.
It's like
We all
yeah,
cheat
you-
every
you-
now and then. It's all good.
Cheating's
like
part of
it-
roleplay.
Part of the experience.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember how to use Roll20.
So the dice are on the left-hand side.
I
There's a
do.
dice icon.
I do know that. I'm just not sure if there's anything to add to the
Oh.
roll.
Bad luck.
Yeah, so that was it. Unfortunately, I actually hit disable, and that's what made it roll. Oh well, I didn't want to.
Do you get advantage for flanking?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, so you can roll again.
Oh, okay. Let me just do that.
Oh, that's different to Pathfinder.
Yeah.
So in this case, I can click on the weapon and do it, and it will be a d20.
Yes. And it should add the
Yeah.
the bonus there.
Yeah.
14 is a hit as you sidle up behind this
Yes.
gnome with your short sword, and you
So,
can sort of take a moment to plan your strike.
In this case, I will do. Sorry, I was reading the thing. I do 1d6 plus 3 of piercing damage with my short sword as a finesse weapon, plus an extra d6. Hang on. Rolled the wrong thing.
Not that
That's
one.
the wrong thing.
That's a bit
that's so
big.
much
A d20
damage.
is a lot of damage.
I probably could have rolled 2, but here we are. So 6. Oops. And then. Pip. 12 damage
Hey.
in total.
12's a lot of
You got
damage.
some mad deeps.
At this point, do I just spear him through the spine? I'm just like. Shunk.
Close. You take your short sword, and because he's distracted with Hadrian in front of him and this display of holy magic, you take a moment to take a look at the leather armor he's wearing and strike between a few cracks where two pieces of armor join and stab a deep wound into the back of this gnome, roughly around where you think his kidney is. And as you pull your sword back,
There's just a kidney on the end of it just going. Blup, blup, blup,
this
blup.
very deep red, almost black blood begins pouring out of the wound, giving you an idea that you've hit something very vital for the blood to be that colour.
Like
He
a
falls
kidney,
to a
for
knee
example.
and grabs at the wound and turns around to look at you and hisses at you in Gnomish, "Traitor!"
I mean,
Ooh,
this
yeah,
Pauline guy doesn't look like he's gnomish, so
Pauline
I-
He
recovers.
hasn't attacked a gnome yet, so.
Can I just say something to him since he's calling me a traitor?
Sure.
He's like, traitor. And I'm like, you became the traitor when you didn't try and make the city better.
Got him.
Bam! Die.
She dabs.
Emotional damage.
He opens his mouth as if to say something, but all that comes out is a groan of pain.
More blood.
Like, kick him in the face.
You can see his rapidly becoming more pale.
I hit an
Colours-
artery, boys.
Colours draining from his face.
He's on like 1 HP.
Pauline staggers for a moment and then tightens his grip on his scimitar and lashes out at you, Hadrig.
Yep.
That's a good one. You read that.
Emotional damage. AC is 17.
So that is going to be a miss, just barely. The blow glances off your armor. You can feel the power behind that blow and know that if it had, bitten through your armor or hit a more exposed spot, you'd be taking some serious damage. But luckily for now, you managed to avoid it. At this point, the gnome that's on his knee rapidly losing strength, takes a last-ditch lunge at Rosie, perhaps trying to take his would-be killer down with him. An 11?
No, it misses.
He moves to lunge at you with his dagger, but he can't seem to get quite enough strength to get to his feet properly. It's like he goes to lunge upwards, but the strength just isn't there in his legs.
It's called having no blood.
Starting to lose feeling in his legs.
Damn. He's just trying to take his kidney back.
Klaus, you're witnessing this this gnome trying to stand in the rapidly growing pool of his blood and take a swing at Rosie.
Klaus?
Klaus,
Sorry.
are you alive?
I'm blanked. I was
Barely.
reading something. Sorry, my bad. Question: Did Gabriel take any hits?
No,
No,
it was a
he
miss.
hasn't taken a hit yet.
No.
I'm
Klaus
also
had hated
hitless.
You're the
If
only
you
one that's
cared.
taken a hit so far.
Yeah.
But it was a
I
doozy.
thought so. It was a
It was
doozy.
a
It was a hell of a
doozy.
doozy. I'm still
Wait,
a bit
it's not
woozy from that
6,
hit.
mate. He's like, oh.
I'm still a bit woozy from that hit, as you can see. I am going to, with my right hand, make it into a gun formation, and I'm gonna shield of faith, towards Hadrig. A glow or a shimmering glow forms over Hadrig, and his body is now radiating this soft glow,
Nice.
and now an extra 2.
Oh, sweet! I
Two.
can finally see. Whew.
An extra 2 AC, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
My AC's now at 19.
I was like, once you missed on that 17, I'm like, unstoppable.
Yeah. Indestructible.
That's my turn.
All right, nice. Gabriel, you've now got this gnome with 2 daggers in front of you that's just narrowly missed the attack they made against you a second ago. You've also got
Yeah.
Pauline immediately to your left. His attention seems to be mostly on Hadrig at the moment, but you can't discount the fact that he's waving this big scimitar around right next to you.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not a frontline fighter. I feel like I'm in a bit of a pickle here.
Well,
I'm gonna have a quick glance around, like at the buildings behind me, and see if there's like maybe like a drain pipe or a what do they call them? Like the stairwells to the catwalks or.
Okay. Yeah, the building you just came out of was the Burrow, which is was a single-story inn. But as I say, this area is so ramshackle and built upon that at a glance you'd say that there's probably enough handholds between, decaying masonry and random bits of timber that have been additions at some point or another that you think you could probably climb to a roof with relative ease if you wanted to.
What do you guys
Provided
think?
you're not actively being stabbed, of course.
Yeah,
I think
that's
if
what I'm afraid of.
you disengage to get a better vantage point, that might be a good.
Yeah, because I assume that like being able to shoot at them like unperturbed, but also I just don't want to leave you versus basically 3 of them, right? But I guess you've got Rosie
I'm
there.
fine, man.
It's also
I'd
2
I'd rather
now.
you be in a position you can attack dudes in.
Also, I'm still here. Like,
Don't forget
I-
Rosie. Rosie's
Yeah,
just
yeah, you've got Rosie
absolutely
too, yeah.
wrecked this guy, right?
Yeah, true.
Like, sorry to be
Alright.
this guy's kidney.
I'm gonna quickly like turn and glance, and maybe there's like an old crate, and then from there I can hop up and grab like the gutter of the tavern. And
Sure.
then I
So
pull
take a
myself up.
disengage action and make me an athletics check as you try to scramble up the side of the building.
Yes, sir. Oh, there's my 17.
17. That'll do it.
Yeah.
So
Alright.
you're able to quickly sort of, as you're deflecting these blows, shove your assailant back slightly and then with a hop, skip and a jump quickly scramble up onto this roof.
Sweet. All right. And then I'll perch and get myself all stable and ready.
Yep, no worries. You drop to a knee on the edge of the roof there. The tiles making up the roof are pretty loose and in disrepair, but you think you can manage to get yourself a fairly stable platform here.
Here is where I slide off the roof and face plant on the floor.
Hadric, you feel the warm glow of Klaus's shield of faith envelop you, and it's this comforting sort of presence of Ilmater almost.
I'm invigorated.
As it envelops you. The gnome directly in front of you doesn't seem to be paying you much attention as he slowly bleeds out. Pauline, on the other hand, is looking at you with a deathly stare.
Yo, you know what?
Finish it.
Yeah, I might not be able to take him in because I think I might kill him. I'm a swing again with my halberd.
This guy's fucked.
Ooh, at 12.
12 is a miss, unfortunately.
Oh no.
You
It's fine.
bring your halberd around, thinking you've got a bit more room now that your allies are giving you space to swing it. But I guess in that time it is a bit of a longer wind-up, which gives Pauline a chance to duck under it as you swing for his upper chest. The gnome that was facing Gabriel is now left with an opponent that has scrambled up a wall away from her. Flips one of the daggers around and tries to throw it at you up on the roof there.
Oh, I'm not even safe.
I'm just gonna check daggers as throwing weapons because I think.
They are throwing weapons.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
easy.
going to say, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
I just wasn't sure if.
17, Gabriel?
That is a hit, yeah.
So go ahead and take 3 points of damage for me. As you turn around and drop to a knee, ready to knock an arrow, you don't have time to react as you just see the blade leaving the hand, and it cuts you across your right bicep as you're getting your bow set up.
Owie.
Feel the trickle of blood start running down your arm.
It's alright. I need 2 more of those to take how much Klaus took.
Joke's on you. You have 1 less dagger now.
Mate,
Yeah.
I honestly thought I was going down immediately.
Yeah, 1 shot.
Timothy, for anyone that's paying him any attention, which at the moment you probably aren't, let's be honest, is staring wide-eyed at the gnome that is on his knees, bleeding heavily, and doesn't seem inclined to take any actions at this point. He's still kind of cowering behind Klaus. Rosie, you look down into the eyes of this hatred in the eyes of this assailant that you have just skewered, and can tell that he's in a bad way.
Don't do it, man.
I know this isn't how. Just in character, knowing there's no fight in him, I'm not going to be the one that just kicks him in the kidney while he's down. So instead,
Rather stab him in the kidney.
yeah.
I mean, for what it's worth, he is still holding his dagger, and he still looks like he wants to kill you.
He does, except I'm going to. Actually, you know what? I'm going to kick him in the face. Just kick him. Just kick him in the face, knock him out. Like, he's lost a lot of blood. If I can just get him to, like, just close his eyes for 2 seconds, he'll probably fall asleep. And that's all we need.
Sure.
Sleep. Yeah, except for it would be the long sleep.
Yeah, he'll bleed
Yeah.
out. Like,
He'd have a long rest for sure.
So is this an unarmed strike that you're making, is it?
Yeah, let's go for that.
Reese, can you refresh our memory on unarmed strikes? I know you had a clarification for us.
yes. Okay. So.
What if it's a leg?
Well, then it's unarmed, isn't it? It's
Yeah, it's still an unarmed.
it's a legged strike. It's not an armed strike.
Touche.
Please bear with me.
Nice.
I might be.
Bears.
That was unbearable, Beck.
That's terrible.
Lucky, I'm gonna need you to pause your sass.
Yeah.
Guys, you're making this take forever.
It's a good one.
Unarmed strike. Okay, so you are always proficient with your unarmed strikes, which are melee weapons attacks, and deal +1. Deal 1 damage plus your strength modifier. Roll a d20, add your proficiency and your attack mod. So that'd be strength. And then the damage is 1 plus your strength. If that makes sense.
I'm gonna roll a d20 and then you can tell me what I'm adding to that.
Sure, no worries.
Okay, so we have an 8.
You have an 8. Yep. And then add your proficiency, which should be 2.
So that becomes 10.
Yep. And your strength mod.
Goes down to 9.
Cool.
Oh, no.
So
I'm
Rosie rolls a 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
means you'll do
However, you
0
are
damage,
flanking, so you've got advantage if you'd like to roll again.
I'm gonna roll again.
Yep.
I always forget about the flanking thing. What?
Well, that's
All right.
better. 18 on the dice.
So
18.
19.
19. Yeah.
So that is a hit.
Yep. Okay.
And then damage is...
damage is 1 plus your strength modifier.
So
So 0.
I hit him,
Okay, is
but
it
I
like
don't
minimum?
hurt him.
Minimum 1 damage or something.
Though it is
I'm
a
sure it's a
melee
minimum of
weapon
1.
attack. So how does your
Surely it's a minimum of 1.
Yeah, that seems like it would be an
you
oversight.
can rule it as a minimum of 1.
Yeah. Look, that's all it's going to take
Yeah,
for now anyway.
Oh,
You're-
hold on. If you have a negative strength modifier, then you will do 0 damage on the hit.
Oh, there you go.
Oh.
Like being punched by a
though-
child.
Hold on. Hold on.
Are melee attacks finesse weapons?
Sneak attack.
Armed attack, finesse weapons.
Yeah, true.
I'm trying to find what the ruling is for the rogue.
I mean, you're the DM guy.
Yeah, it's not overly important. This guy's out of the fight one way or the other, more or
Just kick
less.
him. Just kick him.
As he tries to lunge at you with his blade and doesn't seem to have quite the strength, you lash out with your foot, hitting him square in the face, and he slips backwards in the pool of blood.
There we go.
He doesn't look like he's going to be standing back up in a hurry.
I don't think you will.
He's kind of
That was
weakly kind of trying to stand for a moment, and then either gives up or loses consciousness. You're not sure which.
And with my cunning action bonus action,
Oh,
I disengage
sure.
and move behind Pauline. And if Reese's action language about flanking me is right, it means if I go here, he will be flanked.
Sure. Yes.
That's correct.
Yay!
You didn't need to use disengage though, because the only one that you're breaking out of attack of opportunity range is the guy you just knocked out. You're still in attack range of the other ones, so you can use that extra action as like dodge instead of disengage. So if any attacks are made against you, they get disadvantage until your next turn.
With cunning action, this action can only be used to take the dash, disengage, or hide action.
Okay, well there you go.
Oh,
Don't
there you
worry
go.
about
Doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah.
Either way, you're standing.
So it was
opposite
either
Hadrian.
gonna be me moving or me disengaging. So it's just I'm using it to just move behind him and flank him.
That's cool. Just letting you know, just teaching you.
No, you're all good.
Alrighty. Which brings us to Pauline's turn. He still appears to have most of his wrath focused on Hadrian here, so he's going to take another swing with that big scimitar of his.
Come on.
If he's flanked, is he not disadvantaged as well?
I don't believe so. No, I think you get advantage on
No.
your attacks, but I don't think he
yeah.
gets
All right,
disadvantage.
whatever.
Is an 18 a hit?
I'm
Yes.
on 19
Ooh.
next to Lachlan's Shield of Faith.
Hey,
Shield of Fate coming in clutch.
Nice.
Time seems to slow for you for a moment as you see a swing coming that you can feel is gonna hit you, but at the last moment, it hits the glowing aura that has been cast around you, which deflects the blade just enough to narrowly miss.
Nice.
Oh boy.
Feel Ilmater swooping in and knocking the blade aside.
Yeah.
Good job, Klaus.
Which brings us to the unconscious gentleman on the floor. He's not going anywhere. Klaus, it's your turn.
Alrighty. I'm gonna, with my shield of faith, blow on my pistol guns, and then I'm gonna shoot another spell, but this time at Pauline.
Ooh.
And it's gonna be Gilded Bolt as a flash of light goes straight over the shoulder of Hadrig, targeting Pauline.
You mean guiding bolt?
Gilded.
Oh, guiding bolt. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's the one I meant. Yes.
Yeah.
23 is definitely a hit.
Excellent. That is.
Do some big damage. Do
on
it.
here. Oh, it's some big damage.
On a hit, the target takes 4d6 radiant damage.
13 damage.
That is a d20, my sir.
That is
Yeah.
Oh, why is it? It's
You
not
have
rolling
to-
the other thing.
you
I gotta
have
roll
to-
the other one. Oh,
Yeah, you
I gotta
Stop
do it
rolling a
manually.
d20.
Also a d20, my
I'm
sir.
just clicking my sheet. I'm clicking my sheet.
You gotta roll the dice manually, man.
You screwed that up.
It makes me very, very upset. Cool. So I need 4 of those bad boys, plus some. How do I add to the advanced dice roller? There we go. That's what we want. I'm onto it. I'm getting there.
He just rolls another d20.
For your viewing pleasure, I'll just roll another one.
Oh, that's a lot of d6s.
Whoa.
Oh lord, I don't think he's surviving.
Where'd you get the +5 from, though?
Oh, that's your attack. No, disregard that 5 then.
Okay.
That's my wisdom and my proficiency, which is actually just on the hit modifier, not on
Gotcha.
damage.
So 15
It's still
damage
15.
in total.
Still a lot of damage.
Can you
Yeah.
describe
15.
the guiding? Can you read the guiding bolt description for me again?
I can, yes. A flash of light streaks towards a creature of your choice within range. Make a ranged spell attack against the target on a hit. Blah blah blah.
Oh, it's radiant. It's radiant damage.
Thanks to the mystical dim light glittering on the target until then. Yeah, so cool.
Nice.
You missed the most important part.
Yeah, 4d6 of radiant damage is what he needed to know,
and
and you
the
just went
next
blah blah
attack
blah blah
roll
blah.
hits the target.
Oh, I
before
thought
the
you
end
just
of your
wanted. I thought you
next
just
turn.
wanted the fluff of like
Yeah,
how it
no, it's
looks
fine. The fluff and the type of damage is
and the
enough.
damage. Sorry, I didn't think we were talking numbers.
So you pull out your loaded finger gun, point it at Pauline, and there's this blast of light that sort of burns a bit of an after image into everybody's eyes. And as it clears, you can see this glittering spot right on Pauline's chest that appears to have actually burnt a hole through the leather armor that he's wearing. And you can see this like glittering on the flesh underneath. It seems like crackled and burnt almost. He staggers backwards. This wound's pretty close actually to the one that Hadric dealt him. And he's now seems to be sort of struggling to keep his feet, and the grip on his scimitar looks a fair bit weaker.
Wow.
Boy, howdy.
So that I don't break all the cameras again. Do you guys want to mute yourself for a second, except for Gabriel, because he speaks for Cylon?
Yeah.
He goes, "Ow, shit!" And Vicillin,
Oh god!
it
I am
hurts.
deaf.
Gabriel, he looks up to you on the roof and says, "What is this? End this immediately! Shoot that little fool!"
I yell back down and say, "You had better run. We're taking the little guy to the Ilabar Watch House. Maybe we can rendezvous there, and I'll think of something. But right now, you probably need to run."
He spits on the floor next to him and says, "Coward, do your duty! Kill this thing!"
I don't respond, and I just kind of like raise my bow, as in, you need to heed what I'm saying to you, otherwise I'll shoot.
And then it's your turn, Gabriel.
Okay, undead.
Secret tunnel.
And we're back.
Secret tunnel.
The three of you see Pauline shout something up angrily at Gabriel. Gabriel replies, and then the man seems to shout something back more angrily and spits on the ground in front of him.
Ew.
Yeah, I know, right? A great big loogie.
And
Gross.
it's your turn, Gabriel.
All right. I got my bow out. I reckon you guys have got this big chump covered, so I'm going to shoot at little gnome next to him with the brown hair. The one that's not bleeding out.
Yep, the one that has so far avoided damage and slung a dagger at you not long ago.
Yeah. So... longbow. I've got some questions, Reese.
Yep.
I got a longbow.
Rules, man.
I roll a d20, I add my proficiency bonus along with dexterity or
Yes.
nothing?
Yes.
Yeah?
Dexterity because it's a ranged attack.
As
If
a
you
fighter...
have-
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Chris, if you have the longbow in your like attacks and spellcasting area on your sheet, if you click that, it'll tell you what your d20 will roll that plus add
But
the
it's
relevant
saying
modifiers.
it's saying longbow plus 5, right? So it's plus
Yep.
2 proficiency, plus 3 dexterity modifier.
Yep.
But as a fighter, archery, I get a plus 2 bonus to my attack rolls made with ranged weapons, and that I don't think is applying on my.
No,
actual
so
weapon.
that'll be an extra 2, so you'll get a +7.
Plus 7
Okay.
to attack. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I totally forgot I have action surge as well, but whatever. So I'll shoot little guy with my longbow at a +7 instead of +5, and it's a nat 1. So you know what? You know what? Never mind. Never mind at all. All right, who's getting shot? Which of my friends is
He
taking?
kills another man.
Yeah, you don't know him. He's 2 streets over. Poor guy.
For some reason, you just went straight up.
You go to take aim and fire, but the cut on your arm twinges in pain as you draw the bowstring back and you release the string prematurely. The arrow clatters away down an alleyway somewhere.
Oh, thank goodness.
Action surge.
Too many times
Hey, Drew.
I've
Try
played
it
an
again.
archer in Pathfinder and I've shot my teammates in the back of the head.
Pauline has just had a short exchange with Gabriel on the roof. And he seems to sort of taken his attention away from you for a moment, but as he wraps up the exchange and spits on the ground, he seems to sort of be looking back your way. He is, however, not looking very good. Not looking well.
He's looking very unhealthy.
He's looking pretty injured.
Would you allow me to make a non-lethal attack with my halberd to try and knock him down?
With a halberd.
Yeah.
Yes, but make it with disadvantage because that's not how that works. That weapon is
That's
supposed to work.
fine. I'm flanking him as well as Lachlan's radiant guiding bolt gives me advantage as well. So
We'll even it out to just a flat roll.
just a flat roll?
Yeah.
Easy. A 12.
12 is not quite enough, unfortunately. You bring the butt of your halberd around, trying to use it to knock him unconscious rather than use the blade. You swing it around, and it does connect with Gabriel, but not Gabriel. Sorry, Pauline, but not in. You were sort of trying to go for the head to knock him out, but you knock a glancing blow off of his shoulder, and it doesn't really seem to do enough to phase him.
Yep.
Rosie, the assailant that you have snuck up behind here, turns around as she sees you right behind her, and now that Gabriel is out of range a little bit, she also seems to take in the fact that the other gnome on the other side of Pauline is now unconscious in a large pool of blood, and that Pauline himself is injured. She looks you in the eyes for a second and says in Gnomish, "We are his hammer," and then takes a disengage action to step past you
Oh, she's running.
and makes a beeline for Timothy.
That's just not cool.
Timothy,
Alrighty.
seeing this person run towards him with a dagger, lets out a bit of a squeal and does his best to sort of cringe back behind Klaus, but he's kind of backed up now between Klaus and the wall of the burrow and doesn't really have anywhere to go. He seems to be sort of holding the dagger in front of him uncertainly, but doesn't seem confident enough to actually make an attack. It's like he's trying to block the dagger with the dagger or something, which you guys know probably isn't going to work. Rosie.
I kind of cursed to myself because I couldn't catch her as she dashed away. And I turned back to Pauline. And he's just too tall for me to club him on the back of the head with my sword.
I guess you'll have to use the pointy end.
His kidneys are bigger.
This guy's
so
got kidneys.
Theoretically, should be easier, right?
They're a bigger
Yeah.
target, exactly.
I think in this case, I'm still going to perform a sneak attack on Pauline, because at this point we just need him to go down. However, I am going to focus more on his legs than I am his spleen. So,
Sure. Take out the Achilles tendons.
yeah, pretty much. Take away that running ability he seems to have. Alright. Rolling. With advantage.
Yep, so that was a 7 on the first roll. Let's go for something a little bit higher on the second.
I'm just gonna full send it, just like whooshunk. Oh!
Wow.
Wow.
That seemed to work.
A 19. Plus,
19.
yeah, so 24 all up. That will definitely be a hit. Would you like to roll some
So-
damage for me, please, Rosie?
Yes, I'm gonna roll 2d6. Just need to remember what the modifier is. An extra d6 of damage. Okay, so it's the 2d6 I've done plus my piercing modifier, so plus 3. So we have 11 damage altogether.
11.
On
Alright.
his ankles.
You swing around with your sword, watching the gnome you were intending to fight scamper past and make a beeline for Timothy. You take a look, you sort of weigh up your options and decide that this large seasoned fighter is more of a threat. And you swing your sword up slightly between his legs and miss the ankles slightly, but land a blow within his inner thigh. And as you yank back the blade, you can see this burst of blood as you've
Oh, the artery.
seem to have hit a very important artery in the leg. And with a cry of pain, he drops first to a knee, and then, dropping his scimitar as he puts out a hand to try and catch himself, slumps face first onto the pavement of the burrows and
Yep.
bleeds out in the filth.
What a
Whoops.
way to go. Exsanguination.
It's his turn. He's dead.
Oh no! I didn't mean to kill him!
And then it's the other gnome's
trying.
turn. He's dead too.
Jesus, Rosie, you are a ball of terror.
Klaus, it's your turn. The only
I think
assailant
I'm-
left on their feet is the one that
holy
has
heck.
made a sprinting run towards Timothy with dagger drawn.
I think I'm playing
Yeah.
rogues correctly, guys.
That was very well done.
I am torn because I would like to bonk him, but I also want to cast a spell at him. But
It's
I
a
guess
her.
as I have my have my billy club at the ready, thinking that this was going to be an arrest confrontation, I'm going to try and bonk her on the head with my club.
Alright. Go for the bonk.
The bonk is an 18.
18's a successful bonk.
Alrighty. Why? What? Damn it. Every time. I hate it so much. 2 damage.
2
2 damage.
2 plus
Plus nothing.
Plus your strength
your
modifier.
strength mod. Yeah.
Ah, cool. My strength modifier is 0, so plus nothing.
All over it. Why did we ever doubt you? Alrighty, that brings us to Gabriel. The two nearest opponents to you are now lying on the dirty pavement,
Alright.
either bled out or very close to it. However, one has just made a sprint towards Timothy.
I'm gonna shout something in Fusillan again, so I'm really, really sorry, guys.
Hang on.
Damn language barriers.
Oh, both of them are like covering their ears, and I'm like, that's not good enough because you're wearing headphones. You're gonna hear it anyway. What's happened here?
There we go. I've deafened them. You good?
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna shout out, you need to run now. Tell your superiors, remember, the Illabar Watch House. That's where we'll be holding him. Maybe we can figure something out from there. But unless you survive, they're not gonna get this info.
She looks up as she notices that you're directing this at her.
The audacity.
But you don't see any kind of comprehension on her face. If you had to guess, she doesn't speak Fusillan.
Damn. Okay. All good.
I gotta tell him.
That's pretty cool. I think you serve and muted us, so I don't actually have to mute myself.
No, I deafened you because you didn't deafen yourself, matey.
Yeah, I know. It's good.
Oh, hang on. I've got to.
Lazy bones.
I've got to send him a message to. Maybe I should just start deafening so that I can undeafen.
Probably, yeah. And I shoot her with my longbow.
Sure.
Oh, and we're back. Just
Yep.
wave at your cameras when we come
yeah,
back.
like we're
Oh,
watching.
okay.
We're
I
watching
can't see
the.
Kye, but I can see Chris. So
Yeah.
You know what?
Come back.
Sorry, Kye muted me, so he unmuted me, so I was here the whole time.
well, there you go.
Yeah, we get it. Lachlan cheats. All right, whoopee.
We all know
Whoopee.
this. All right, Gabriel, your turn.
All right. Come on. Let me do something this combat. Longbow time at a +7 instead of +5. That would make it
That's a hit.
24. All right. Finally. Here we go. I'm doing some damage, guys. Okay,
believe in you.
D8 +3 piercing for dex makes...
Oh, no, that's a different.
That's a d20.
I did exactly the same thing.
Exactly the same thing that we were laughing at Lachlan.
I'm just going to roll a D8. +3 is 6 damage.
6. Your shaft flies true and hits this assailant in the stomach area,
Ah.
deep into the guts.
Kidney, but
She clutches at it and
No.
sort of seems to hiss with anger almost, or rage, and looks like she's getting ready to throw herself at Timothy. Hadrian.
Alright,
spear tackle.
After watching Pauline drop like a sack of potatoes.
so I turn around, I drop my halberd, I point at the remaining gnome,
Yep.
and I cast Compelled Duel.
Ooh.
So it's a bonus action. You attempt to compel a creature into a duel. One creature that you can see within range must make a Wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
So the gnome has to beat a 12 on a Wisdom save.
Oh, that's an
Oh
natural
my
20.
God.
Yep, no, that's
Sorry.
fine.
You throw
Alright.
down your gauntlet and she just fucking kicks it.
It's like, here's a cool plan. Pass.
Yep. Alright.
Not so cool anymore.
I would like to use my action to draw my billy club.
Yep.
And then just move up to her.
Sure.
That is my turn.
Sounds good.
Yep, that...
Next up,
Things are impressive when they
it's-
work.
Yep. It's her turn. She looks down at the arrow, snaps it off, leaving the head buried somewhere in her stomach.
Correct.
And then throws
that's supposed
herself
to
at Timothy with the dagger, trying her darndest to do a murder.
Oh.
17
Pretty
is
good.
definitely going to be a hit.
Pretty good.
No, Timmy.
And she does 3 damage to Timothy, which doesn't sound like a lot, but he's a civilian.
He's a squishy boy.
He is
That's
a
true.
level 1 commoner. And as she lunges with the blade, it does bury itself pretty deeply into his chest. You can't tell if it went straight in or if it's kind of cut down and along, but pretty quickly you start seeing some blood come out of the wound. And Timothy cries out in pain and fear as he staggers backwards under the assault. Rosie.
I do have a bonus dash action I can use with cunning action. Although, let me just make sure that I'm not overusing cunning action. Each of your turns in combat. So I can use a dash action.
Okay.
Dash lets me double the amount of movement I can do.
Yeah, so a dash is an additional movement. Oh, it's not an additional movement action, but you move up to your movement again.
Okay.
I mean,
and
for
all
what
of
it's
these are
worth,
like-
you are within movement distance.
Yeah.
Of
1,
its
2,
enemy.
3, 5, 10, 15, 20.
Yep, and you've got 25 feet per turn, don't you?
I do. Yeah.
I'll just say... So I'll say that Timothy at the moment you wouldn't be flanking with because he's not presenting, like, he's not an attacker as such. So if you want to take another step so that you're opposite Klaus, you would be in flanking.
Yeah, that's true.
This is definitely going to be. This is more me thinking as a player and less of a. How do I play the numbers game?
The numbers.
Instead, what I've done, having seen Pauline drop, knowing I'm probably going to get a write-up for this, I rush over behind...
You've murdered a
our
foreign diplomat.
I run up behind our female compatriot and I attempt to throw myself around her and just slam her to the floor.
Okay.
I'm just
Grapple.
trying to halt her assault.
Sure thing. So grapple is opposed athletics, isn't it?
It is a dexterity or strength check, and it is your choice.
I'm gonna
So,
take
strength,
dexterity.
athletics, or
No,
dexterity
so
acrobatics.
so
That's
Beck, you
opposed.
have to take a strength one.
Oh,
Kai gets to choose.
Honestly, I rolled a 3 on the dice, so it's not gonna really matter.
I have a -1 to my strength, dude. This could go either way.
Well, just don't roll a 3, right?
Oh! 5.
Close. 5.
Well, it's funny you should say that because hers is also a 5, so meets it, beats it in which direction? Does she avoid it, or does Beck successfully grapple?
So
I think the defense.
I think Beck would beat it.
Yeah, doesn't the aggressor usually win?
Yep.
It's a bit-
You know what? Let's say Beck gets it.
Just.
She's this gnome that you're tackling is too preoccupied with trying her darndest to murder Timothy. So you successfully grab her and tackle her to the ground.
Yeah, the idea I kind of had in my brain was I come up behind her, I wrap an arm around her shoulders, and I just fully, like, swing her around into the floor, kind of beside me to my left, but in front of Hadrig. Like,
Nice.
just get her out of there, like, just...
Yep. Which,
And then-
yep, you definitely do successfully. You pull her off of Timothy and throw her to the side.
Yeah, so she'd be about here, is kind of where I'm thinking. If possible. If not, I understand.
Sure.
Choke slam.
Pretty much, yeah.
Which brings us to Klaus's turn.
God damn it! You've moved her all the way over there.
Sorry.
Well,
Timothy is next to you. He's dropped
Yeah.
the dagger and he's sort of clutching at the wound in his chest.
well, I think Rosie has this. I was going to come up and manacle the assailant, but I feel like Rosie's got a at the moment, and then Hadric is going to have a chance. So I'm going to try and I'm going to heal myself up. So I'm going to use Cure Wounds on myself.
Nice.
Poor Timmy.
Sorry?
Nothing. Don't worry.
He's fine. He's fine.
Oh, you've been stabbed.
Yeah. He's got a sucking chest wound. And
We've
you're
all
like,
been
"Oh,
stabbed.
I haven't. I'm actually still good. Nobody's attacked me yet."
You feel left out?
Yeah, you know what? Some of us are kind of hurt, alright? Like, otherwise I'm coming over there and I'm going to put manacles on this person.
Yeah.
And then we can all just be healed up later. You know what? Let's just do that. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to come and put manacles on her.
Okay.
And, is that like, do you want to make a grapple with advantage?
Yeah, make a grapple with advantage since Rosie's kind of got a hold of her too.
Yeah. Why is it opening my... God damn. Let's roll.
God damn it.
Alright, my first one is a 3. My second one is a 6.
Jesus.
Oh no.
You're not adding anything to that, are you?
No.
No.
0 strength.
No. 0 strength.
You get out the manacles and start fumbling around trying to grab her hands, but she's thrashing about. There's blood everywhere at this point, which is making
Just
things
too slippery.
slippery. It's
What's from us? What's from them? Nobody knows anymore. We've got several different kinds of diseases, all bloodborne.
God damn it.
doing?
Gabriel, from your perspective on the roof, you can see things are winding down in a sense, down on the ground.
Yeah, knowing my luck, I'll probably shoot one of my friends by accident. So they don't call me Dudshot for nothing. Right? I resignedly sort of jump down from the roof and try to land as, you know, without any ground shock.
All right, give us a acrobatics to try and land smoothly. I
Here
mean,
it comes.
if you're jumping off of a roof
Here it comes, here it comes, here it comes!
into a
nice-
puddle of blood,
Hey!
nice.
I land on a banana peel.
Land
I'm gonna-
on a loose spleen and slip on it.
Yeah, I'll march on over, and I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of watching at this point.
You're here.
Just watching the carnage.
Hey.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll just put my arrow back in its quiver and yeah,
Won't be needing this anymore.
yeah.
Hey, Drink.
Alright, I'm gonna do what Klaus tried to do. It's like Klaus is like slipping and sliding, and I'm like, oh my god, dude, back away.
Watch it happen.
Let
Here it comes.
someone with some strength be able to do this.
Yeah, the manacles are heavy, right? Like, they're made of iron. Just
You're feeling a little bit
So,
woozy from the wound you received. It's a mess.
So I'm gonna use my action to try and grapple and
Yeah.
apply manacles.
Plus, you actually have a positive strength modifier, right?
Yeah, I have a +5.
The only one among
athletics.
us.
So, well, okay.
Is that a
Do I get advantage because Beck's holding her down?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Because currently,
otherwise
you're
you're
not
gonna
winning.
lose.
Fucking.
That one.
Let's move aside. I have locked myself up. Okay.
You push Klaus aside, whipping out your manacles, but like, I got this. You grab one of her wrists, and it just immediately slips out of your hand as your hand comes away slick with blood. It isn't as easy as it looks.
It's gonna come around to her turn. She's gonna slip out and be like, "See ya, suckers!" and run away.
We are without doubt the worst police
Speaking of,
officers
it is
you've
her
ever heard
turn.
of.
And she's going to try and escape the grapple.
Oh my god.
God.
Here it comes. Here it comes. Watch.
That's a 12. Does Beck roll to
Surely
maintain the
disadvantage
grapple,
with
does
this-
she?
So yeah, Beck needs to roll to maintain the grapple. I believe it's still
strength?
the athletics.
Dude,
Athletics check.
surely she has disadvantage with like 3 people around her trying to grapple her.
Well, currently none of us are doing a damn
Currently,
good
none
job,
of you
so-
are grappling her with a
It's like she's
Exception of
covered
Rosie.
in baby oil in a goddamn slip and
Sorry,
slide. All
What I
right.
meant to say was, can you give her advantage because she's covered in baby oil?
Yeah, exactly.
12.
Oh, beats it for the aggressor,
Yeah,
right?
it's 12. She does manage to slip out of your grasp. It probably
Just
doesn't
that
help.
baby oil.
It probably doesn't help that everyone else is grabbing her and yanking her, and so you kind of lost your grip.
God
Oh,
damn it.
Jesus.
And she now sort of staggers out of everybody's grasp, a step away.
Okay.
She takes.
Oh, she's
She's on her back and looks at the four of you, sort of bearing down on her, and the two of her friends, or two of her compatriots anyway, bleeding out or dead.
Or dead.
She snarls. Seems to be pointing more at you, Rosie, than anyone else. And says
I am
to
the blood
you,
trader.
in Gnomish, the same thing she said before. We are his hammer. And then she grabs the arrowhead in her gut and twists it. And there's this burst of blood from her stomach, and she collapses backwards.
Oh man, we
Well,
flogged
that's-
it.
Well, I mean,
One
if
of
you didn't do
them
that, she was getting
survived,
turned
maybe.
into a pile of dust, is what was going to happen.
All right, and we're going to jump back to the talk screen because we are way overdue for chat. I am so sorry, guys. That combat... Look, it's their
That was
fault. They stuffed it up.
Wow.
It was looking like it was going to be like a clean sweep. It was like, cool, Hadrig does bulk damage. I do
Yeah.
bulk damage. And then it was just like, oh man, we've done so much damage and there's blood everywhere now. Let's just all slip and slide all over the floor and make the combat take 10 times longer.
Just going to quickly scroll through
Is that
chat here.
historically
Big
what
thanks
happened in
to...
battles?
Is that Micahs? Is that what those... Or MLK E4s? I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but thank you very much for the follow. Hope you're enjoying things so far. Good to see you in here. Stormo went to bed. We said goodnight to Stormo.
Good night, Stormy.
Good night,
Yeah.
Stormo.
We've got a few people hanging out in chat.
Yes,
Emotional
Demi hopped in.
damage.
If you're still there, Demi, hello. Hawkskull had some bangers. Emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
That made me laugh.
Hey, the guy's trying to get his kidney back from Beck. Just plucked it out.
Doof,
Yeah.
doof, doof, doof.
Like little Jack Horner with his pie.
Except it's not a plum, it's a vital organ.
You can have kidney pie.
Yeah, you can also live with one
Hey,
kidney.
Nicely done.
Oh, good job, guys. You've successfully beaten your first level 2 scale combat. And also
Yes.
taken some people's lives.
Yes.
What the hell?
It was an accident. I was going for his ankles.
Sure
I was-
you were.
I
What's
didn't.
the artery in your thigh called? The one where, like, if it's cut, you're
femoral,
you're a
I
goner.
think.
It's femoral.
Yeah, I just absolutely slaughtered this
Sean's
man's
here.
Yeah.
leg.
Make sure.
Instinct kicked in for Rosefina.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was like,
Straight to
ankle,
that
and I was like-
vital artery.
Like
You know
my nature was just like, all right, I'm aiming for the ankle, and then nature kicked in and it was like, and up and shunk.
Yep.
Yeah.
To me, the scariest thing
Like
about the
muscle
femoral
memory.
artery is apparently if it gets severed, it's like elastic and it shoots up into like your groin, like hip area. So you
Can't
can't
get it
even
back.
like stop it bleeding at the cut because the artery itself slingshots further up into you where you can't get to it
No.
to hold it shut. Scary stuff.
Sounds.
That's fucked.
I have an
Horrible.
irrational fear of my femoral artery getting damaged.
Hey,
Yeah.
Kai, can I not get any more fun facts from you ever again, please? That would be great.
I didn't say it was a fun fact.
Especially when you described it as an elastic band, and I'm just like,
Slingshot, just boing.
they only stretch so much. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cooked, man.
Ooh. Anyway,
Yeah,
God.
that's not good.
so it's a
At
good
least
thing
the blood will still be
I
inside your body.
it's a good thing I let you guys take your real weapons out into the streets. I feel
Oh yeah.
you guys could
I
have
still
been
used my bobby.
yeah.
I'm
We-
Yeah.
I'm so
if we
glad I
had been
remembered.
good, we
Klaus
probably
here.
would have done better, to be honest.
I'm so glad I remembered my bonus actions and stuff this time, because that's
Yeah.
actually what really.
Yeah. Those sneak attacks, man. Holy moly.
Holy crap!
They were good. Yeah.
When my first
I
sneak
totally
attack was
forgot.
like just one full d6, and I was just like, oh, okay.
And
Also,
Hadrig's
props to you guys
brutal.
for doing the damage.
brutal first blow of the combat.
Oh my god, that was described so horrifically.
21.
Like, goddamn. I think was Klaus the only one not do any lethal damage that combat? The only one.
I blasted him with my.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. You had your
guiding.
finger guns. That's right.
Yeah.
So you're all
He
fired.
shot a guy.
I was trying really hard to KS in cleric fashion
Yeah.
slash
You came
spellcaster fashion.
you came pretty close, but just not quite close.
I honestly didn't think. I was so surprised that I didn't kill him. I was like, no way,
Mm.
this guy is a tank.
Yeah.
He's
I'm
pretty
very
tanky.
interested to see what you guys in character think of Gabriel having a conversation with before,
I mean, I know multiple languages too.
I mean, I'm just going to assume he's a criminal now, since that's what he's been doing to me the whole time. You speak the language of the enemy, guess you're a criminal.
Yep.
It's only safe to say that he is a criminal, and he's from the. He is a traitor to the nation of Rolands Landing,
Yeah.
Ooh.
and we had to bring in Gabriel.
Klaus just jumping straight to 100. Like, hang him.
If anyone's gonna know, it's gonna be this guy.
What? I was
Starts
telling you to go
speaking
fuck
Priscilla,
yourself.
and
Hang
Loki's
him.
like, stop right there, criminal scum.
It becomes Oblivion NPC.
We've actually stopped the. We've actually gone to break too early. The combat's not over because Klaus is about to go ham on Gabriel.
Yeah,
Combat part
it's like
2.
I would
it's
not
like-
survive.
It's
It
like
turns
when,
out.
like, it's like when a stray bullet like hits a friendly NPC and they immediately turn and go, "Stop!"
Yeah, you'll die for
All of a
that.
sudden,
Hey,
like,
what are you
he's trying to
doing?
fight-
Can't you see me here? Hey, stop that!
Alrighty. So, what was that bit?
It turns out that Chris was just done playing the campaign and he didn't want to be like, oh, I'm just going to quietly and respectfully leave.
Yeah, you have to kill me in character.
I'm gonna make
first.
my party kill me first.
Yeah.
Make
That would
me
be a
work
pretty
for
good
it.
way to do it, though.
Yeah. Would that not be such a good way to just like salt the earth you walk on?
Yeah.
Hey guys,
I don't
kill
know
my
if,
character.
Imagine then if you like somehow won and you had to play and the rest of your friends couldn't play anymore.
Because they all died instead of killing you. The one thing you wanted was just to leave the campaign.
I don't know if I
Yeah.
mentioned the story previously on here or not, but I played a campaign once where my PC was actually the BBEG the whole time.
Yeah,
So-
I hated it. It was the worst. It was the worst
I-
campaign. It wasn't enjoyable.
the DM
Nothing
and I
about it was
flamed it out.
enjoyable.
It was enjoyable for me that I was actually the
is
bad guy
fun.
all along.
Hated it.
It was great.
Hated
Were you
Did not
was there a
enjoy.
different dungeon master in that Kai, or were you the dungeon master?
Oh, no,
Mitchell
it
was the dungeon
Mitchell was the
master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was a player. But yeah, I was actually the bad guy all along.
Yeah.
Well, I
Mind
mean, I've
you,
seen.
I had
I was-
murdered in that campaign as well. I think every member of that party, because it was like a horror campaign, and like if you killed someone, they would come back with like some deformity, and so it was just kind of like we didn't know who to trust, and there was doppelgangers and some.
Yeah.
There was some definite friendly fire that happened in that campaign before Kai turned into the big bad, and it was just like this is just. We were already infighting with friendly fire. And then that happened, and it was just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've seen. This is gonna really show my age here, but I've seen Tumblr posts from way back when where they're talking about. Sorry, just a really weird notification popped up. They're talking about like doing a campaign where at the end your entire party is actually the bad guys. It's like everything's been framed to you in such a way where it's like, oh yeah, no, you're all good. Don't worry about it. You've been a totally regular human being doing everything you do in D&D, but it turns out that everything you've done is just gearing yourself up for everything in the world coming to get you because you've been the bad guy.
Yeah. That is an interesting way to like spin it.
Yeah, I think, I watch a lot of, like, your boys' 5-minute crafts. I watch, like, game ranking videos. And it's a great channel. It's called Game Ranks with an X. But, yeah, they'll go through and be like, top 10 games, where it turns out you were the bad guy the whole time.
It sounds like the sort of things that I'd be like, oh, that's a cool idea. Oh, wait, now all these games are spoiled for me.
Well, I don't really mind because I don't get around to playing a lot of games. So I'm like,
That
this
is true.
actually helps me play the game without playing the game.
That is true. Alright, guys. I don't know about you, but I need to do a bathroom break.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm
I
gonna
need to go water bend.
send us to a break real quick. Go to the toilet, grab some water, whatever else you need, and then we'll smash out the second half of this slightly extended session. Combat always takes longer than you expect.
It does.
Alright, guys. So those of you
Easy.
watching, do the same. Go have a break, and we will be back very, very soon. The bladders are empty.
We're back.
Fresh beverages have been
Yay.
obtained.
Oh, I am not in frame.
I've got a cup of tea.
Nice.
I got a
Jealous.
cup of coffee
Because it's
in my
cold.
Minecraft mug.
I
Heck
have
yeah.
Minecraft.
I have a big Frank's cup with apple juice and Fireball in it.
Hey,
Nice.
Wow.
The old apple pie.
Nice.
Very nice.
I didn't get anything. I didn't get any drink.
I got water.
I also got water, like on the side here, ready to go once. The
I'm a
Yeah.
thirsty boy.
I have water too. I have all of them, all the liquids.
Hey, Battle of Basil, welcome on in, and thanks for the lurk. I don't know if you can hear us or not, but thank you very much, and thank you for the biddies. I did fix the notification to put it at the front of the text as well. I swear I've done that like 3 times, and somehow maybe it's on different
things
screens.
get jumbled.
Just blame Tom.
Yeah.
Someone's messing with my layouts.
So I have a crackpot theory, right? Hear me out.
Okay.
Oh boy,
Okay.
here we go.
Go on.
So I've got it drawn on the combat screen.
Oh,
Here we go.
Lord.
Oh
The
shit!
pins and
I
the
was
string.
wondering what you had written here.
Right?
Hang
So
on,
hear
where
me
am
out.
I? Where am I?
Top left of the.
Oh God.
You can see the drawing. So, right?
Oh, right.
We've got Gabriel here, right? Boom. Gabriel, top here.
Yeah.
This is him, Gabriel. Right? Speaks Facilin. He plants the coins in Timmy's bed because he A, murdered Marion in the night adventure. He's now like making a ploy with these anvil guys, and he's hiding under the guise of us, which he is then planning to backstab, as he may be part of this group who can speak Facilin, and they are from across the sea. So
Lachlan is literally the meme where it's like Charlie Day, like
Yeah, fucking crackpot
it's
theory.
always Sunny trying to like crack the fucking.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? You tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Maybe, sure, Pauline and Gabrielle obviously didn't see eye to eye, but would he really want them to see eye to eye? Like, that's part of the ploy. It's like 2 steps ahead. So Gabrielle is 2 steps ahead of everyone at all times. He was the one that killed Marion, and he's the one who planted those coins. He can speak Facilin, so he knows what's going on, and he's playing this group here against us and then hiding within the watch. That's his intent of joining the watch, was to make it all from the inside.
Oh my God.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
He's cracked it.
Also, the Earth is flat. Did you guys know?
Chris, rebuttal.
Yeah, right. I'm waiting to do it in character because I think it'd be more fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, who knows? Chat knows more than what we do, considering that we weren't there on his night adventure. And that night adventure was when Chris went and murdered Marion. I'm telling you, that's what happened.
Bro.
And that's
No
what caused the
spoilers,
issues.
chat.
Because
Also,
he went-
just as someone who doesn't subscribe to this crackpot theory, 2 different days, bro. 2 different days.
Bro, I would love to like listen back to Chris's parts, and it's literally him being like, "How come I can understand you? Who are you? I have no
Yeah.
idea who you are."
Like Jason
Get out
Bourne,
of
I
my
woke
town.
up when I knew Facilin.
It's just the pointing Spider-Man's meme.
Who are you?
You speak Facilin? You speak Facilin? Yeah, but why do you speak Facilin? Irrelevant. Prepare to die.
Yeah.
yeah.
There can only be
Nice.
one. Spectacular. Alrighty, guys, we're going to jump into part 2 here. We'll probably, if we find a natural stopping point, try to stop it a little bit earlier, just because we had a extended first half. We don't want to keep everybody up all night long. So let's jump back to our table and pick up where we left off. Bam.
Alrighty.
So you guys stand in the alleyway outside the burrow with the bodies of the three would-be ambushers on the pavement in front of you.
Lots of blood.
A lot went down in that combat. There was a lot of words back and forth between Gabriel and Pauline, between Rosie and one of the gnomes. That obviously only Rosie understood. There's a lot. Actually, I think Hadric speaks gnome. Am I wrong?
I do speak gnomish. Yeah.
I speak gnome as well.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Everybody speaks gnome.
Because we speak gnomish
Yeah.
and also have dark vision.
It comes with dark vision.
I also speak dwarvish, in case anyone would like to.
And the only people who speak Facilin are humans and evil.
Hey, I'm an asshole. I'm not evil.
Ergo, ipso facto. What era?
Just a natural segue into crackpot theories.
Look,
we go.
before we run down crackpot theories, how's Tim looking?
Yeah, how is he looking?
You look over at Tim. He's now sitting on the ground, slumped up against the wall of the burrow. He's got his hand over the wound. You can't quite see it properly. There is blood running between his fingers and down his front. He looks very pale, but you're not sure how much of that is blood loss and how much of that is shock and panic.
Okay, I put my hand over his hand, and I'd like to use 4 lay on hands points to heal 4 of his hit points.
Nice.
Oh, that's sweet.
He only took 3 damage, I believe, so that will heal him back up.
Well, now
to full.
he's extra health. That's also to top up the blood that he may have lost.
Yeah. One for good luck.
Just a cheeky transfusion. As the healing magic runs from Hadric into Tim, you can see he sort of looks surprised for a moment and then pulls his hand away, still wet with blood, but moving his torn shirt aside, you can see that the wound is completely healed. With
Werewolf.
Not even a scar to show where it was.
Bro, I just hit him with the finger guns and I'm like, still got it, baby.
Thank you, gods. That's amazing. I thought I was a goner. Are they? And he looks over at the 3 bodies. Are they dead?
I start moving. Well, we're not entirely sure, so I start moving between them and I check to see if any of them are still alive. Because Gnome Lady twisted arrow in stomach doesn't necessarily mean she's dead yet.
Yep.
And then I knocked this other guy out, so he could just be having a bad time on the floor.
Or he could have bled out, let's be honest.
You work your way through the 3 bodies, Rosie. The first that you go to, the last collapse with the arrow wound in the stomach, you see that she is still breathing very shallowly. She seems to be on death's door, but at this moment is still in the realm of the living. As you're rolling her over...
We got a live one over here!
And looking over a person, you can't help but notice that she's wearing an amulet tucked under her shirt. It's an amulet very similar to the one that you saw, that you found in the watch house on your first day. It's of a anvil that is cracked down the middle. However, this one differs slightly in that, in addition to the anvil itself, there is also embossed in gold a hammer over the top, sort of layered on top of the anvil. So you've got the sort of cracked hammer in the background and this gold hammer in front.
We have a sect of Garth Darkhearth.
Gelf Darkarth.
Yeah, we have a offshoot or an off branch.
So, Rosie, when she was like saying to you, oh, the hammer is with us or whatever it was, like
We are his hammer.
that's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a religious thing, right? For Gelf, that's like we're the Brotherhood, we worship the god, kind of thing, right?
Rosie, go ahead and give us a religion check.
Yeah, I was gonna say that'll be a religion check on my part. 14.
14. You're not overly religious yourself, but you've been around the city for long enough to have a rough idea and probably have associated with people who are a bit more devout than yourself.
I've stolen from enough churches. Go on.
Yeah. The mainstream or the main branch of Gelf Darkhearth worship doesn't have any particular reference to, hammers, or it's not a phrase that you hear day to day from the average worshipper of Gelf Darkhearth. The 14, to be honest, it's probably not something you're overly familiar with at all, but you know enough to be pretty confident that it's not just your everyday Darkhearth churchgoer that would,
So
be using that kind of phrase. It's not a common phrase of the religion.
Yeah.
She's like pretty much about to die if how badly
She's
she is,
definitely unconscious, and it doesn't take a medicine roll to know that if she doesn't get some sort of help soon, then she will die.
Do you
Right.
want me
I'm
to hit
gonna
her with...
kneel down
yep.
and I'm gonna first of all put some manacles on her. As she's laying on her back, I manacle her hands on her chest.
Yep.
Roll for
And then
strength.
Yeah, give us a grapple check. She's still slippery.
Oh, is she slippery? Let's find out. Oh, it's a whoop. There, 12. Take that.
Nice.
And
worries.
then go to cast Preserve Life.
Okay.
And I'm going to, her hands are on her stomach, I put my hands over her as well, and a ray of light or a glow of light pulses through her body, and then also through mine.
Okay.
And I'm gonna heal her up.
So what does Preserve Life do exactly?
So it's a divine channeling that I have, that I can heal 5 times my cleric level. So I can heal a total of 10 divided amongst any number of creatures within 30 feet of
Okay.
me.
It's pretty good.
Nice.
And so I'm going to heal myself up 5, and I'm going to heal up her 5 as well.
No worries. You can see the wound sort of trying to heal around the arrowhead. With it still in her, it doesn't heal completely. There is still a slow trickle of blood, but it certainly seems to have slowed down the bleeding pretty dramatically. And while her breathing remains shallow and she doesn't regain consciousness, she does appear to be more stable.
Cool. Does anyone have medicine? Can we pull this arrow out and try and save her life?
I still have lay on hands points.
Well, I've hunted my fair share of game, and obviously you can't eat a deer with the arrow still in it. So I've done this before, but on a
You
person-
can.
It's texture.
It's fiber.
Extra.
It's
grip.
roughage.
I could give it a go, but also I'm no physician. I could probably hurt her even more if I'm not careful.
Your gnome physician.
I'm a gnome physician.
Ah!
How niche.
I can also give it a crack. I know a little bit about
Anatomy.
and,
How to avoid the kidneys.
and medicine. Yeah.
I interrupt this back and forth. I walk up to her and I yank it out of her stomach.
You deal 10 damage, she dies.
I mean, I'm not even going to make you roll anything if you're not actively trying to do it in a,
Well,
medicinal way. If you're just going to yoink.
like,
You can roll a medicine if you want to try and be a bit more
I'll
careful
roll
about
it with medicine. I'm just trying to forego this. Ooh, which of us is best to take it out? I'm just going to try and take it out
Okay,
with the
sure.
medicine that
Rip
I
the
have
Band-Aid
in
off.
me.
Go for it.
Yeah. 6.
Oh no.
6.
She's got baby oil, and you slip in.
You fall in.
Grip what remains of the arrow shaft and give it a yank, trying to avoid tearing any of the freshly healed flesh on the way out. As you yank it out, you do feel a bit of resistance and feel it kind of catch slightly, and the slow trickle of blood does seem to increase a little. She sort of twitches as the arrow is yanked out, and is still bleeding slightly, but not dead. Could have gone worse.
I still have lay on hands points.
Hadrig, maybe you'd better pull the arrow out.
The arrow's out. Thank
Arrow's
you very
out.
much.
Out, yeah.
Oh, is it?
But it
Okay.
has kind of reopened the wound a little bit, or at least, whatever the arrow was, wherever the arrow was sort of stopping bleeding is now free to.
Can I use 3 lay on hands points to heal 3 HP?
You certainly can, which is
Slip.
enough to stop the bleeding from the ragged wound that she's taken. She seems to, her eyelids kind of flutter slightly and her breathing deepens a little, but she is still currently unconscious.
Mm-hmm. All right. Seeing that, I move.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just gonna. Seeing that, I move over to the other gentleman, gnome gentleman, that should just be unconscious after I bonked him in the head with my foot.
Ignoring the
dead
fact
as
you
fuck,
stabbed through
surely.
his fucking
Yeah,
kidney.
his kidneys are bleeding out.
He might still be alive.
Looking over him, you quickly determine that he has unfortunately succumbed to the blood loss, and appears to be rapidly cooling
Nice.
on the floor here. You as you're sort of rolling his body over and patting him down, you notice he has an identical amulet with that broken anvil and hammer motif.
Mm-hmm. Easy. And might as well just pull the old one out on Pauline, too.
Pauline is a bit more difficult for you to manhandle. He's a lot bigger and heavier and wearing armor. But you do manage to sort of roll him over enough to pat him down. No amulet on Pauline. All he's got on him is the scimitar, a dagger on his belt, and you also find a pouch with a handful of Facilian coins, mixed in with a few more common Rolands Landing coins in the pouch as well. The Facilian coins, you're not 100% sure of the value, being uncommon and not legal tender necessarily in Rolands Landing. But there is a total of 6 gold worth of Rolands Landing coins.
Not bad.
I try and take the 6 gold.
So you're aiming to separate it from the Facilian coins and pocket it?
Yep. Just with a bit of sleight of hand there.
Go for it.
I'm investigating, Just
And,
investigating, come on.
I won't make all 3 of you roll perception, just weigh this against your passive perception.
13.
10. I don't see it.
11, I don't see it.
13.
Oh,
Beats
it
it,
sees it.
So
It must have
That's
been
not the
that dark
first time
vision
I've
coming in
seen.
handy.
It's not the first time I've seen Rosie do something
a little bit shady.
like this either. Yeah.
So you're sort of keeping half an eye on Rosie as she looks over the bodies while the others are more focused on this one that Hadric's been healing. And you look over just in time to see Rosie sort of jangle a few coins in her hand and slip them into a pocket before she does up the drawstring on the coin pouch.
Thief doesn't jangle.
It folds.
God damn it. Get out of here.
My money don't jingle jingle, it jangles.
My money don't
alright.
jingle jingle. It's gold.
Alright, so
We should
got
take
two-
this.
we got
Take
2
him
dead
back
bodies
to the watch house.
and 1 alive. Let's
let's
get him back to the watch house. Let's get Tim out of here as well before we have any other attacks. Rosie, have you got something sorted for Tim?
I'm thinking taking him back to the watch house now probably isn't the best idea. I know where Badger is located. Can I opt to instead escort Tim to Badger to get him out of the city? And then I'll just try and meet up with these guys at the watch house when I'm done?
Sure.
Yep. So that's what I intend to do. Like, he's clearly just a target. We just need to get him out of here. So I'm going to take him to Badger the People Smuggler and get him gone.
No worries. How's it sit with the rest of you?
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah, happy with that. I think we have to take these
I-
bodies back. There's 3 of us,
Yeah.
3 bodies.
I trust Rosie. I'll take the big guy.
Thanks.
Probably for the best.
To flex my muscles, just.
What do you want, Klaus? The alive one or the dead one?
Whatever. I'll take the dead guy.
All right. I'll grasp the shallowly breathing gnome carrier.
No worries.
No worries.
So with your respective
Get out of
burdens,
here.
you begin making your way back towards either the watch house or the shady hangouts that Badger frequents in Rosie's case.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do the rest of the gang first. You guys make your way towards the watch house, getting certainly more than one or two looks, as none of you are in uniform, and you are all carrying what appear to be dead bodies covered in blood down the street.
Oh my god, I forgot we weren't wearing uniforms.
That's right.
No need to
You
worry,
went
concerned
incognito.
citizen.
Dude,
We
welcome
are
to D&D
police
where you just go, what's that? Words that were said ages ago. I'm looking at like all of us on like, obviously on the screen, and we're all wearing our uniforms. I'm like, hell yeah, that's a nice looking uniform we got.
Yep. Next thing you know.
Some people sort of turn and run when they see you coming, or try to slink out of your way very quickly. It is now becoming, dusk in Rolands Landing, which isn't a safe combination at, the best of times. And when you see three fairly intimidating looking characters coming down the street with what appear to be dead bodies, you don't hang around as a general rule.
In this part of town, nah.
I'd buy that.
And you make it to the watch house without anyone interacting with you, but you wouldn't be surprised to find word potentially getting around about some suspicious characters, but you would probably be dropping the bucket, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Rosie, you quickly scurry through some back alleys, all the shortcuts through the burrows, and quickly make your way to the hideout of Badger. And as you arrive, he's just coming out the door with a big cloak on, and almost walks straight into you before going, "Gods, Rosie, I was supposed to meet you at the watch house. What are you doing here?"
We got attacked trying to leave. It's not safe taking him to the watch house. We just need to get him out of the city rather than have a big target on our backs. Plus, I figured you'd appreciate not trying to hand yourself into the watch.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't particularly keen on it. But you've been attacked? What kind of target are you lumping with me with here?
Just one that you need to move quick, all right? Don't hold on to him for too long and just get him out of the city.
Gods above. This is him then?
I push him forward. I'm like, yep, this is him.
God. Here. And he turns around and goes back into the building that he's just left and comes back out with another large cloak. Put this on. Cover your face. Try not to let anyone see you.
With the 6 gold that I've got on me, I hand him 2 of them. As recompense.
I guess the pay's not as good in the watch as it was in your previous occupation, eh, Rosie?
Be glad you got anything, Badger, rather than me calling in one of my many favors.
Still not sure who owes who at this point, but I'll get him out of the city. You want to know where he's going, or you don't want to know?
If he needs me to know where he is, he'll find me.
Right. Tim, you any good in a fight? And he just shakes his head. Mute. Of course not. Alright, do what I do. Do what I say when I say it, and we might get you out of here without you getting murdered in the street. Rosefina? And he tilts his head to you. Have a good night, officer.
And to you, good citizen.
And
I just sort of pretend tip my hat.
And then sort of takes a few steps and is quickly lost in the darkness of an alley. Tim doesn't move to follow immediately. He sort of hesitates, looking your way. Rosie, I can't thank you enough. To be honest, I expected to be hanging from a gallows by now, so I owe you my life. If I had anything to give you, I'd give it. Just, I'll send word when I know where I am, and if you ever need anything, I'll do whatever I can. For what it's worth, I'm sorry for whatever part I played in this debacle.
I grasp his hand and I squeeze it a little bit, and I'm like, just stay safe, stay alive, and I'll see you later. And I shove him into the darkness. I'm like, off you go.
Yeah. He sort of stumbles back into the alley, and you can hear Badger grumble something along the lines of, "That's enough soppy shit, come on, let's go." And before long, their footfalls are lost among the hustle and bustle of the burrows.
Yeah. All right, and then with that, I finagle my way back to the watch house.
Mm-hmm. The three of you arrive at the watch house, waltz through the front door.
With 3 dead bodies, or 2 dead bodies.
Kick door in.
However much one can waltz with a corpse.
It's fairly dark inside. You can see there is light coming from the captain's room. Shut it, Hadrig, I can see. You're thinking about it. There's a light coming through the
Dark,
door
you say?
to Jacinta's office upstairs. The door's sitting about half open. And there is also a lantern sitting on a desk downstairs with Sergeant Chaplin just sort of leaning on the desk. He's got some scraps of parchment and things in front of him, but he doesn't seem to be actually writing anything in the moment. He's just kind of staring into space.
Well, I drop, like, or I put the body on, like, one of the unused desks that are lying around, just like,
At the thump, the sergeant starts turning around. "So that lead of yours pan out to anything? What in the God's name have you done?"
It's been a long afternoon, sir.
He stands
We got
up
another one.
and grabs the lantern that was sitting next to him and walks over and puts it down next to the body of I've blanked on his bloody name. Pauline.
Pauline.
Yeah.
And goes, "Who exactly is this?"
Well, if I'm correct, this is one of the guys that attacked us at the gate the other day, and should be in jail, as they were trying to also smuggle contraband into the city.
Right. One of the ones you apprehended. I remember.
Yes.
He sort of starts looking over the body and pulls the scimitar slightly out of its scabbard and goes, "Okay, we need to be really careful about who we tell this information. This is a Fusilan soldier.
Oh no.
I don't know what he was doing in the city, but if they find out that one of their men has been killed by an officer of this city, we could have it could be a problem."
Well, we have a dead gnome
Where-
as well.
Sergeant Chaplin,
Why
where
do
are
you
the,
have a dead gnome as well, Hadrig?
We heard you
have
like
a lot-
bad news.
Yeah, I have good news. We have an alive gnome.
Speaking of, where's Rosie?
I slip in the door at the mention of that. I work very quickly. I'm
Nice.
barely behind them. Right here, sir. Don't even worry about it. I was just making sure the gents weren't followed.
Followed. Hang on. Let me get the captain. Let's get this straight. He starts walking up the stairs and kind of knocks on the door as he's pushing it open, and you kind of hear him. "Captain, the newbies are back. They're gonna start a walk, and we've got to. Can you just come down?" And you kind of hear the desk and some shuffling of papers and things before the sergeant comes back down with Captain Noble behind him. She looks a little bit unsteady on her feet, sort of bleary-eyed. What's all this? What's going on? The sergeant tells me you guys are causing some problems.
Look, to be fair, we didn't start the problems.
We
look,
were We were just enjoying a quiet drink out in the burrows, ma'am. And these ne'er-do-wells, these ruffians just beset upon us as we were leaving to come back.
A drink. The sergeant told me you were out looking, chasing a lead. Did it?
We
not
exhausted
work out?
our leads, exhausted ourselves, and so we wanted to sit and rest a spell. Don't worry about it. It's cool.
Captain, I want to be perfectly honest with you. We were out looking for a lead. We found said lead, and as we were leaving the tavern, we were jumped upon by this man and his associates. The associates, which we have here, are these two gnomes. One, unfortunately, is deceased, and the other is in a critical condition. The other human, male, is a Facilin, which jumped us at the gates, as you may remember, attacked us from the carts, and I just have one question for you guys, though. How did he get out of the dungeons if he was smuggling contraband in? I thought he was meant to be under lock and key, and I hope that his other counterparts that were with the wagon are also still locked up, because that means we've got bigger fish to fry than this dead Facilin here on our table if they're not locked away.
Well, my understanding is that he should have been locked up. According to the reports, you, after subduing them, Corporal Arnold and two other officers from another watch house took them in to be processed and locked up. I'll have to try to look through the logs, I suppose, and see where this guy must have escaped. It's concerning, certainly. As you can see, our staffing isn't what it should be, and I suppose there are cracks that, you know, he may have fallen through or be able to make an escape. Certainly
Literally?
hope it's not something that can be repeated. As you say, the idea that his other allies could be loose in the city is certainly concerning.
Sorry to interrupt, but when we accosted them at the gates when they were smuggling the contraband, there were 4 of them, right?
4, according to the reports, yes.
Right, and none of them were the gnome entourage. That was just the scuffle on the roadway, right? So what we're looking at is 1 dead Fusilan soldier and possibly 3 more who might have escaped as well.
Possibly.
And we're still not sure what their tie is with these followers of Gelth Darkar.
Followers of Darkhearth.
Right.
What makes you think these?
They have these
followers of
amulets, which is a adaptation or a
As he's trying to describe
subsection.
it, I just hand it to the captain as well.
Well, we tend to find that a lot of the restless gnomes in the city are followers of Darkhearth rather than Earthcaller, but this hammer symbol seems new to me. Were they both wearing something similar to this?
They were, ma'am, and I have to say, they kept saying that, they kept saying we are his hammer.
Not familiar with the phrase, but ominous sounding, I'll give you that. So you believe that these two gnomes were working in conjunction with this Facilin?
I don't want to jump the gun, but I would believe that the Facilin is either infiltrated Rolands Landing and is trying to militarize the gnome population, but that's obviously a bit of a stretch. But I definitely believe that they were in cahoots.
It feels like a mutual benefit situation. Some extremist gnomes want to take back the city, as they claim it to be rightfully theirs, and the Fusilans want to upset the city as revenge for King Roland not allowing his daughter to marry a Fusilan prince.
Well, it's the latest in many, many years' worth of hostilities between our two cities. And if the Facilans are exploiting the split we have in the city between different groups of people, it would be a clever tactic, I suppose. Alright, we can't let this get out just yet. Right now we've got nothing more than a group of Crown employees killing a member of a foreign nation's army. Until we've got a little bit more to go off of, we We can't let this get out, so try to keep this to yourselves if you can. Hopefully, we, didn't have too many spectators to this little fight of yours. As if on cue, there's a pounding on the door, and a harried-looking man sticks his head in. Guards! I just saw there were some people that were carrying bodies through the street. And he kind of looks over and sees the three of you standing there next to the bodies laying on tables, and he sort of falters. And and the sergeant looks over and says, "None of your business. This is watch business. Get out of here!" And he turns him around and like shoves him back out through the door and slams the door behind him. And just rubs his eyes like,
Uh-oh. I was just about to say, like, I hope none of those, undercity gnomes that we passed on the way here don't, start speculating anything. Next thing you know.
Well, I mean, their assumption is that we were in civilian clothes and we were just carrying, so we're just obviously dodgy as carrying dead bodies through the city. But there is a chance that they could have recognized it as a facilin, and then
gossip.
Now that person has burst in the door to find that the dead bodies have ended up at the watch. So there's a lot of issues going on here.
Yep.
So the sergeant turns around and says, "In future, if you need to deal with bodies, whether they're your making or not, send someone to the watch house and grab a cart. Don't lug them through the city like some fresh caught game. At least you weren't in uniform, I suppose. Gods above." The captain sort of shakes his head and says, "Look, we can't do anything about that now. The four of you are clearly scratching at the surface of something bigger and deeper than any of us expected. A murder in Rolands Landing is certainly nothing surprising, but whatever's going on with this inventor character and this," she says, gesturing to the bodies in front of her, is much more than meets the eye. I want the four of you to keep following this. We don't have the resources to put anyone else on. I'll be back to just the corporal and the sergeant here at the watch house until you guys have cleared up whatever this is, but I think this is important. This could be big. We know that it's time of turmoil right now. The princess is coronated soon. We can't let things go belly up before then. So,
ma'am, if I may, where is Corporal Arm?
well, she's got the afternoon off. I try to stagger between the corporal and the sergeant, so there's someone here most of the time. So, currently, after we went and checked out the crime scene, she took the rest of the afternoon off.
Okay.
Very well. My sincerest apologies, Sergeant and Captain. Now that you mention it, it probably would have been best to get a cart.
I guess we didn't go through all the protocols. Wasn't expecting you guys to be racking up the body count quite so quickly, but...
Well,
it's mostly Rosie who...
Yeah. We just...
I'd appreciate not being thrown under the cart here.
Well,
What
if we had a
cart? We
cart,
didn't get a
you'd be
cart.
thrown under it.
Yeah, if only we'd gotten one.
Look, I don't doubt that you did what you had to do. This man is clearly a seasoned soldier, and frankly,
My
surprised me.
hand slipped, I swear. It was an accident. I wasn't trying to kill him. He jumped
attacked
into
us.
it.
That is true, actually.
He left us with no choice.
I
Yeah.
don't doubt you, Klaus. I only wish these things could shake out differently, but unfortunately that's the reality of life on the streets of Rolands Landing. You're certainly not the first members of the Watch to have to put somebody down, and you won't be the last. Judging by the scale of this thing, I wouldn't be surprised if you would have to do it again in the near future. I suppose we'll have to wait and see. For now, keep your wits about you. Try and follow this thing as best you can. I don't want you guys to put yourselves in any more danger than necessary, but the fact is it's a dangerous job. Just a moment. she heads back up to her office for a moment, during which the sergeant just kind of keeps looking from the bodies on the table to you guys and shaking his head a little. What do we get ourselves into? More recruits, they said. Make life easier, they said. Before long, just enters back downstairs with a small wooden chest. She opens it up and says, look, you guys are pretty well armed, but I don't know what you might need going forward, so here. She reaches into the small chest and she dishes out 10 gold pieces to each of you.
Yes.
Call it investigation funds or expenses, I don't know. We're underfunded and this isn't something I can hand out to you very often. This is the rainy day fund, as it were. But
Oh, it's volcano insurance.
I don't want you going in unprepared to whatever this shitstorm is.
Understood. Thank you. This is most gracious.
And please let us know if you manage to get anything out of this gnome here, and if she comes to at some point.
The sergeant kind of nudges her on the table. She seems pretty out of it, but I'll lock her in an interrogation room for the night. You're welcome to come back in the morning and see if she's conscious.
I suggest we maybe keep her here at the watch house in case whatever happened to old mate over here happens to the gnome as well.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there. I don't think I'll be going home tonight, says Chaplin. Looks like another night sleeping under the desk.
No.
Well,
Sad.
I look at him and I just time to hit the old dusty trail.
Sounds like a you problem.
Yeah.
I don't get paid enough for this.
Is there a place where we can get this blood off of us, like a bathroom around here?
There's always the river.
I'm
Probably more blood
thinking
in the
in
river
the
than-
building, Rosie. That's
Go bathe in the river and replace hepatitis A with B through C. Not at the watch house. You're probably best off finding an inn or a tavern. I mean, there's bathhouses, but not in Nillabar. Or at least none that I would trust the water in, that's for sure.
Good point.
well.
Yeah.
Good night, Sarge.
Oh.
I'd like to usher these guys aside, out of earshot and out of the room of the sergeant and captain. So, I mean, do we pick up tonight? Should we go see where Corporal Arnold is?
Look, it's been a big day. I think we call it tonight. That's. But before we do, I'd like to. I don't know about you guys, but I'd like to have a chat with Gabriel here.
Oh, for sure. I wanted to just touch base.
Yeah.
Like,
3 heads
I
just
think-
turn towards Gabriel.
Yeah, I'm just like,
Gabriel.
What?
What?
Gabriel, what did this Bacillin man or
Wait,
Pauline,
just quickly,
Sadie.
for the sake of the bit, can me, Lachlan, and Reese all immediately look to our I think it's our left for this. Hang on. I'm figuring it out. Alright, you guys ready?
Yep.
What the hell was that?
Oh, I see. Nicely done. I suppose I should look to my right?
Yeah.
What?
I do not know.
I
'Cause
did
we're all-
nothing. I did not.
I did not hit her. It was nothing. It's bullshit. Oh, hi, Mark. I turn to the guys and I look like I'm about to say something, but then I sort of stutter. And then I say, look, maybe it's time I spilled the beans on some things. Maybe, do you want to head to the Tav?
We should probably de-blood a bit before going out to regular people.
All right.
Yeah, if
Shower,
you wanna-
then Tav.
If you want to, we can swing past my house. We can clean up there and we can have a chat over the dinner table.
Alright.
Might not be
yeah,
a tavern, but I'm sure I've got ale.
How far is yours from this place?
Good question. Let me just bring up the map.
The map. The map. Yeah.
I'm going
Should've said
to...
something vague.
It's not too
It's not far.
but
Yep.
But it
Klaus,
is
your
dark.
home is in High Jarrah, which is across in the northern half of the city.
How do you swap
reasonably
that?
nice neighborhood.
Can we?
Would...
Sorry, you can't swap yourselves on Roll20. I have to swap you.
No.
I don't think my map in Roll20 is the full map.
That's all right. It's an indeterminate location known as Klaus's house.
Klausy house.
High Jarrah is just kind of cut off at the top there.
The house of Klaus.
House
of
Klaus.
Oh yeah, I can see the bottom
Klaus
of the
house.
word.
I instead offer an alternative. My house...
Head to the burrow.
My house in the burrows would probably be the best place to de-blood. Since it is
Probably the
closer.
closest.
De-blooding in the burrows isn't it's just a casual
Yeah.
nighttime activity.
It's what we do for fun, really.
Yeah. Go
Does this
swimming in
happen
the
to you
river.
often then? Is that...
Not anymore.
Whoa, big raid.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
More raids.
Anyway. Oh!
Alright. So let's head back to Rosie's place.
Yes.
Yes,
All right.
sounds good.
That
Rosie's
sounds like an
place.
excellent plan.
Shower and drinks.
It's... I have not prepared for this at all.
That's right.
My
You
house
guys-
is messy. It is not ready
I'll
for
host.
guests.
So you guys leave the watch house, and Rosie leads the way into the burrows. As burrows accommodation goes, it's not in the absolute dingiest part of the suburb, I suppose, of the district. And all things considered, it's actually not a bad-sized little house Rosie's got for herself on the second floor above a shop that sells some weird variation of trinkets and baubles and are they a fence or are they just a pawn shop? Who knows?
Those aren't questions we ask in this part of town.
Don't ask questions and you won't end up floating in the river.
Good point.
What's the inside of your house look like, Rosie?
It's all sized for a gnome, so unfortunately, it gives them a smidge of space, but Hadric will have to stoop to get through the doors.
It's very tight in here.
Compared to what they've probably seen of other houses in the area, it's moderately nicely furnished. Like it's probably not highborn levels of furniture and gildedness and fancy and hoity-toity, but it's not run down, it's not beaten.
Yeah.
It's
All utilitarian.
yeah.
Does the job and is comfortable enough.
Yeah, like it's nice. There aren't many trinkets, no real knickknacks, nothing personal on the walls, because that's not what we do here. But it's comfortable, it's presented well, and it's mine.
Well, as long as you've got ale, then I'm sure it'll be just like home. Let's take a seat and discuss. We've got so many questions that we need to mull over and figure out what our next plan of attack is. We might have 3 facilins running around in the city and we don't know where they are. Possibly. We don't know that until we go see the corporal.
Could be worse. Could be
And-
4 till you did a murder.
Could have been 4.
It's true. We're already one down.
Well,
I'll just quickly describe the floor space so you guys kind of get an idea. I'm making this up as we go, by the way, so congratulations.
That's what D&D
We
is.
walk
Improvisation.
Ill
We walk-
prepared.
We walk in, it's a fairly open space. You can see it's pretty clearly divided into like a kitchen, a dining area, a living space, a couple bookshelves around, but nothing too major. Seating, what have you. along the back wall. So let's say you walk in, it's just a kind of big square space, because we are in a building that's already been constructed, by the way. But it's to the right, you see 2 doors. As we walk in, I say, door on the left is the bathroom, door on the right is my room. Do not enter the door on the right. I will kick your knees out from behind you.
Okay.
If you want to go wash up in there, go right ahead. I won't have any clothes that fit you, so wash accordingly.
You guys take your turns getting as cleaned up as best you can with the buckets of water that Rosie's got in the meager washroom there. Before long, you're as de-blooded as you think you're likely to get without having a full-blown bath. But good enough to be seen in the streets without people thinking that you're an axe murderer. They won't think Machete Mike's back on the loose.
So
Good old Machete Mike.
So I'm sitting at the table, right? And I look to Gabriel, and I'm like, so, what the fuck was that about?
What the fuck, Richard?
What the fuck, Richard?
Hadric said a naughty word. That means it's serious.
Hadric using a naughty word. Well, I suppose you're wondering why I know Fusillan.
Yeah, you seem to be
we
having
are.
like quite the conversation with our late friend there.
It's
So-
like we weren't even in the room.
Yeah.
I know, it was kind of rude of me. I'm sorry. Perhaps I should have considered that and spoke common instead. Listen, I wasn't entirely lying when I told you where I came from. I did grow up on a farm with my father, and I had a pretty normal life, actually. It just happened that that farm used to be sort of not far away from, but not, too close to Fusilla. And as a result, just being around the area, my father needed to speak to the locals to sell his product, and, I was just a boy at the time, but my father taught me a lot of things. He taught me how to speak Fusillan, Common. He taught me how to use my bow and arrow, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's an explanation. What other questions do you have?
So what did you talk about to the guy?
Did you talk about us?
The soldier. He basically threatened to kill us unless we turned over Timothy, and I told him that we weren't going to hand him over at all, and that if he was going to take Timothy from us, he would have to pry it from our dead bodies. And he basically took up the challenge and told me that he basically told me that he would do to us what we basically did to him, and I'm glad it happened that way, actually. I do like my spleen being inside my body and my femoral artery not elasticed up into my leg. But that was the extent of it. Why he chose to speak in Fusillan, I don't know, but I guess it's lucky that I knew Fusillan.
Maybe that's all he knew, being that he is Fusillan after all. Maybe he didn't know.
Well, I shouted a threat at his gnome friend, the girl, actually, and she didn't seem to understand. So, I don't know, maybe there's a language barrier there. Maybe the gnome that we killed was a translator or something. I'm just speculating here.
But he spoke common to us when he came into the city, so he knows.
Oh, yeah, you're totally right.
He knows the language of Rolands Landing. Like,
Do you know do you have any idea of what he wanted with Timmy?
I must admit, I don't know. Basically, I knew that there was some shady shit going on because Rosefina was specifically seeking him out because he was in hiding, so I thought they were the ones who were after him, so I thought, well, we better put ourselves between them and Tim.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much all I know.
Hopefully Tim is safe now. So where do we go from here?
No, there seems to be a lot of stuff going on in the Undercity with what Rosefina was sort of getting on it. I don't know who Badger is, for example. Would you,
You don't-
care to
it's-
share?
It's not that important. It's
Well,
probably...
Rosie, I think maybe since all of our cards are on the table, we should spill the beans together. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it might be important since we might need to get in contact with your friend again in case we need more information.
Badger in this case is merely just a regular old guy. He's just a guy I know from way back when, and he's really good at getting people out of and into the city. He's what you might call a smuggler, but I prefer what's the word I'm thinking of? He's more of like an immigration negotiator.
Immigration. Does he often deal with, for instance, off the top of my head, Fusilans?
Considering he's a gnome who's lived most of his life in the city, not really. I mostly just employed him to help me disappear from Dodge a few times. Just little things. You'd go rob a rich person's house and they'd get a look at your face, and so you need to lay low for a couple of years. You know how it goes, right? Like, it's not a big deal.
I think there's more to it than that, Rosie. Come on.
Fine. Hang on. I'm just trying to remember. Sorry, break character here for a second. I'm very tired.
Hadrig is astounded. By the way, he's like, "All right, it's all coming out now."
Bombshells. Gabriel's
Alrighty.
a Sicilian.
Yeah.
Rosie's an ex-criminal.
Yeah.
So I take a big swig for my drink, which I'll just do now, because why not?
Nice role playing.
I've told you guys a few times my age. In this case, I can't see what my age is. Fuck.
Can someone tell me what's
You're
my
old.
age again?
200.
I feel like you were 150.
I don't know.
Ish.
I'm actually older than you guys think I am. I believe I'm about 300 years old.
Jesus Christ! All right.
That you're an old
After
person.
I could be wrong. Let me just check.
Pretty old.
It is pretty old. You guys will get access to this once I'm done, by the way.
Okay.
It's a bombshell.
I'm really just trying to remember what year I was born, okay? Like, just give me a second, all right?
All right. Do you want us to store it in the
Okay.
meantime?
No, sorry, I got it.
Okay.
Okay, so no, I am 200 years old. I was only ever born into Rolands Landing being a human settlement. But you guys are just getting the story now, saws. My grandmother was actually here from well before that. So, growing up, I used to hear all the beautiful stories of how beautiful this area used to be. Like, living in the burrows, this actually used to be our ancestral homes. We lived alongside the riverbank. We made our homes and businesses in the ground, as gnomes tend to do. And then when the humans showed up, we welcomed them in. And they took over in the way humans do. Growing up, I used to hear the beautiful stories from my grandmother, and made me jaded, unfortunately. And, when she died, it just kind of left an anger there. And rather than just let them walk all over me, I decided I'd take something back. So, for about, let's see, with my crappy drawing, about 100 years. My Grammy died when I was 50 or so. You know how it goes. You're only a kid.
At 50, yeah.
You're only a kid, you know? Like, your grandmother
I'm
dies.
21 years old.
Yeah!
Yeah, thanks, Grogu.
Anyway, so for about 100 years, I was, I must say, pretty successful thief. It was pretty easy, since the gnomes so graciously offered their homes to the humans who just stomped all over them. They didn't really see us as much of a threat or anything to really be worried about, so... also, we weren't considered to be particularly smart or capable or anything like that, so none of them ever expected me to be stealing all of their stuff. And so for about 100 years, I made quite a tidy living up here in Rolands Landing. You know, for a little while I had a partner. Don't see them anymore. And, you know, Badger was just one of those friends you made with the business. You need to get out of Dodge for a little while. You need to move some stuff out of the city. You always had someone for that. In this case, he's just an old friend, really, when you think about it. We probably won't need him again. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. I've never dealt with these guys before, but I also tried not to rob the religious places too much. But, you know, sometimes you get a gold piece, you just can't resist. But yeah, you know, it's about 50 years ago, just sort of, had one job just go totally wrong, and since then I've just kind of been a bit, just, I guess, a bit lost and that sort of thing. I must admit, Klaus, if it hadn't been for your dad, I probably wouldn't be alive right now. You know, just one little rough night. You know, just got attacked by some humans, but someone came to my rescue, and it was just a dwarf in a guard's uniform. But if it weren't for him, I might even be dead, because I definitely was not picking on somebody my own size. So.
Is that why you decided to join the watch?
Yep. Pretty much, because at that point I knew if I wanted to make my life better and the city better, I wasn't going to do it by being selfish or entitled or thinking I was better than the humans that were here, and instead I knew I needed to try and do something to actually make the city a better place.
Well, I'm glad, and it's a pleasure to meet you, Rosie, and I'm glad we're all in this team together. So
we're all
thank you
in
for that.
this together.
Yeah, that certainly sounds like a very difficult life, doing what you had to do to get by.
Definitely hit a point in which I was doing more than I needed to get by.
Well, but morally, and like you said,
yeah.
what was it, 50 years ago, some event happened to you to sort of dissuade you from that facet of Roland's Landing's Undercity. Care to elaborate?
Look, I had a partner for a while.
Love. Did it
was just
reshape you?
Not really. It was nice to have someone that was in it with me, you know? Like, they weren't from Roland's Landing, so they weren't beaten down by the society that I grew up in. They were just happy, they were go-lucky, and then one night, a job just went bad. So.
I see. And your partner, they are still alive?
I haven't seen them since.
That's suspiciously vague, but I'm
Well,
sure it must have
look,
been heartbreaking.
we wound up in the river. I never found a dead body, but I never found them alive. So it's Schrodinger's dead gnome here.
I don't think it's.
That's
I
a
don't think
strange
it's
way of putting it.
Yes, the famous Facilin Schrodinger. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's relevant at this point, Gabriel. I think maybe we should focus on the case. And Rosie's told us enough. I don't think we need to go into all of her details about her life and her wrongdoings. I
Very
think
well.
we need to come up with a plan of where we're going to go now,
Is
and what we're going
there-
to do next.
Any more secret criminals at this table?
Do we need
Yeah,
to
I
interrogate
mean-
Klaus?
The boys from the church are good guys, unless Hadrig was a bad guy and now he's like found the church and become a good guy.
I graffitied a fountain once, and you get labeled as a bad boy.
By graffiti, you mean used as a toilet, right?
Once! I did it once!
And that's what gets you on a list.
I pooped in a fountain once when I was 12. I've changed. I was a kid.
What is a fountain if not a glorified toilet?
Right.
I think you're
You took it.
exonerated.
Well, that sounds like a good place for us to leave it for tonight. We are overdue for our conversations with chat, so we'll put a pin in using fountains as public bathrooms and quit back to our conversation scene here. Hello, chat! I'm so sorry we weren't talking to
Hello.
you before. We have a little time right when we're playing so that we can focus on the gameplay. We were all chatting to you in chat that some of those people were us, but we just try not to do it, on screen so we keep the ball moving. So let me just go down the list of things that we missed over here. Let me scroll up a bit because you guys have been going off. Games Night app rated. Thank you for the raid. We got. Oh, wait, I'm guessing that's about as far as we were.
That's
Roughly.
sick.
Oh, Shiny Nightmare, welcome on in. Didn't see you join, but thank you for stopping by. Games Night Outrated, thank you for that. Rip Nexto, thank you for the follow. Games Night was also playing D&D. Everyone loves D&D. Friday night D&D.
How good is D&D?
Mike Moans rating, thank you very, very much for the raid. Hope you guys have enjoyed catching the tail end of our session for tonight. A bit of roleplay after some combat earlier on in the session. Late June, Mike Moans, Roval Jacks, Schnerd, I think that is, Dutch Recon, Lulisa. I hope I'm getting that roughly right. Up to Studio. Thank you all for jumping into chat, saying hello. Pisces.
Pisces.
Welcome. Thank you all for stopping in and the kind words. Hope you guys enjoy our setup. Yes, you can change our lights. They kind of sort of work when we're streaming from home. If you like that though, we are playing in our studio tomorrow and the studio lights work much better because they were set up by someone who knew what they were doing.
Kai, who are we?
We are Nerds of the West. Yes, good point. Reese, thank you. You're my living teleprompter. We are a variety channel. We stream all sorts of things. Tonight, obviously, we were playing some Dungeons & Dragons, but we do board games every Saturday at 12 noon Western Standard Time, Australian Western Standard Time, which we will be doing tomorrow if you want to check it out. Our names are now on the screen, our real names, not our character names. If you guys want to go around the circle and introduce yourselves.
Hello. Me. I'm the first on the list. Hello, I am back. I am playing Rosefina, the gnome rogue of the party.
How you going? I am Lachlan, and I'm playing Klaus Gunterberg, and I am our dwarven cleric.
Reese, that's your cue.
Pedrick.
Oh, it's me. Sorry. I was like, is it me or is it Chris? Sorry. Hi, I'm Reese. I am Hadrig, the half-orc paladin.
And I'm Chris, and I'm playing the human archer, Gabrielle Dudshot Cartier.
Thank you
Secret
all.
Fusilin spy.
Filthy
Secret facility spy.
says
who
the
shifting
thief.
blame to gnomes.
That's right.
Cute Lemons, welcome on in. Sorry, I did see your chat. I just hadn't scrolled down far enough. So yeah, we stream board games, we stream video games, we stream role-playing games, obviously, all through the week. Tomorrow, Saturdays are our big days in our studio, so if you want to check that out, please stop by at midday Australian Western Standard Time. I'm not sure how that works out for your time zone, but Google will help you, I hope. We also have a YouTube channel if you want to head over to youtube.com/nerdsofthewest, where we've got tons of our previous content, many hours of stream uploads, as well as stuff from our studio, tons of board games and other role-playing games on there as well. If you liked the tail end of this session, you can catch the previous 5 sessions on our channel to get up to date. This one will be up there before our next stream next Friday. If you want to get all up to date with all of the crazy investigations and hijinks of our squad of investigators over here. So please check that out if you're interested. Our socials are in the chat there as well, Facebook, Instagram, and our Discord if you want to jump in and hang out in Discord. We do, lately we've been playing a lot of online board games on Board Game Arena, turn-based stuff, which has been really fun. So if you want to play some board games, we're in there as well. Have I forgot anything in the spiel, Reese? Beck, you guys have given it a lot more often than I have, Lachlan.
I mean, I can just do it. Hello, we are Nerds of the West. We're a variety board gaming channel and video gaming channel from Perth, Western Australia. If that feels like your jam, please stick around.
Beck got it like on the inside of her eyelid. She's got it down.
Yeah, I also just saw it.
She's falling asleep as she's doing it though. She's like, guys,
Put her on the spot while she's had a full day of work and a full day.
No, it's cool. It's cool. I got it. This is going to be hilarious. Hi, welcome to Nerds of the West. I'm Reese, and I am just one of the many nerds on this channel. We are a group of friends from Western Australia, and we play board games and video games. If that's your jam, feel free to follow and check out all of our socials as to when we go live.
Yeah.
We also have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
You pretty much got it.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Rough enough for the bush.
Oh, thank you, Moran. That would have been helpful, but I already have it.
We've still got Reese's one set up for some reason. I don't know if that's my chat. Oh, wait, no, Reese is running chatbot today. That's fine.
Reese is running chatbot.
Yeah.
When my chatbot
weren't working.
Yeah, and when my chatbot's running, it says Beck instead.
Yep.
So.
And to be honest, mine probably says Reese because I think I copied most of my setup from Reese.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. That's why I copy most of my setup from Tom. So.
Well, sharing is caring.
Yeah.
So,
Point
thanks
is,
again, guys. Hope you really enjoyed. Unfortunately, yeah, we are wrapping up for that. We've been streaming for a few hours now. 4 hours almost. Jeez.
4 hours. Yeah.
Time flies
Time
when
flies
you
when you're
are playing role-playing games.
time flies when you're accidentally murdering people.
Yeah.
No.
Accidentally. Sure.
Yeah. Accidental with an axe.
Yeah. Nice.
Alright, guys, I think I start looking for someone to pass this lovely raid onto. If you guys want to talk about the schedule for the coming week, perhaps.
No worries, I can do that if you would like. So as Kai mentioned, tomorrow we are back in the studio playing board games. We are playing Libertalia, Gales of Windcrest.
Winds of Gale
Winds of Gale
Crest.
Crest.
Winds of Gale Crest. Yeah, close enough. I'm not.
Winds of Gale Force 1.
Yeah. So we're playing that in our studio tomorrow. Sunday we have nothing. Monday we have nothing. Tuesday, Beck will be doing a solo stream, where Beck is playing a new game
Something.
that she has not decided yet.
Mm.
And then Wednesday we have nothing. But Thursday I will be back, doing my solo stream where we're starting our playthrough of Resident Evil 2 remake. Which I'm
Nice.
very excited.
Nice.
Haven't played it for a while. Very keen to jump back into it. And then next Friday we're back here playing more D&D unless something comes up.
Yeah, we had to miss a few weeks because of some illness, but hopefully we can get back on some regular Fridays. We stream our D&D on Friday nights at 6 p.m. Australian Western Standard Time. So again, punch that into your world clock and see if you can tune in next time, because we'd love to have you guys. The more the merrier. We love doing it. Having a regular D&D game feels excellent. Very keen for us to keep cracking along in this campaign, see what you guys discover.
There's so many mysteries. We got so many loose ends that we need to start tying down, and
Yeah,
then we'll find out that they create more loose ends.
I'm so glad that you guys or Lachlan went down the insanity corkboard of red string without me having to like prompt that. You just went straight in.
That was good.
I mean, I'm even more suspicious of Chris now than I was before, considering that he was like, you know what, Rosie's a bad person. Rosie's bad. Guys, don't ask me about my history. Rosie's the bad one. Let's all shift the blame to that. What's that? Let me just ask you some more questions. Yeah, but we should press on with what the matter at hand. It's like, no, we shouldn't. We should waste time and ask Rosie about her bad history.
Classic misdirection. I love how you guys got like a base explanation from Gabriel, and we're like, oh, okay. And then Rosie started telling her story, and everyone's like giving her the 5th degree. It's like, okay.
Yeah, but who did you
Gabrielle
rob?
was
Why
giving
did
her
you?
the 5th degree. And she didn't cut it off, and we were just like,
Rosie's
well, you know what?
backstory.
Good old backstory.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
don't need
I've been looking
backstory when you
forward
got
to.
Rosie's backstory.
Yeah, Rosie didn't give a lot of backstory when she was doing her sort of initiation or what's the right word?
Being
Introduction
all coy.
with her.
Well, I figured
Firing.
I'd probably get a little bit ostracized or crucified even for being a criminal that has since joined the Watch.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
see,
it makes sense. But it's good to have that some of that backstory come out. I like it.
Klaus is a man of religion and good faith, and he likes to see the best in everyone. And if you've turned a page, then that is all I require.
Classic misdirection. You see, Klaus used to be King Roland, and he
Klaus, turns out, is the hammer on the amulets.
Classic.
Thessalians are actually vampires.
He's full jewel.
It'll be just Kye.
I don't know any of your backstories. I'm as lost as you guys are. Alright, gang, I think thematically we're going to go and raid Welshie. Welshie's another Perth streamer. He is lovely, and he's playing Traveller's Rest, which is a game where you play as an innkeeper who like runs the inn that the adventurers come back from their adventures to. It's kind of like it kind of ties in with the D&D theme there. So go and say hi to Welshie. Throw him the finger guns. We love his channel and his wholesome streams. Anything you guys want to shout out before we pull the trigger and call it a night on tonight's session?
No, I just want to say thanks for hanging out with us. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you for the raids, and thank you whether you've been here for 5 minutes or 5 hours. Thank you so much.
100%.
Also, shout out to Kye for putting the session together. Prepping a D&D stream is never easy, so the fact that you've done it for this week again is absolutely amazing. Thank you very much.
More than welcome. I love every second of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Up until we break your campaign.
Yeah.
Hey, them's the breaks. It is what it is. Thank you guys for being an excellent party and mostly following the plot hooks I throw you, more or less.
We try.
We've missed some. Oh no.
Not going to confirm or deny that you've either missed plot hooks
like
or made some up of your own volition.
It's like a playthrough of The Quarry sometimes. Like something happens and you're just like, was that important? Did I miss it? Did I fuck that up?
Alright guys, that's us for tonight. Thank you again for joining us. We love having you. Please enjoy the rest of your night, morning, afternoon, whatever it is, and we hope to see you again here soon. Bye!
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 Nice.